Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Quest podcast. It's your boy HSR.
It's your boy Chris Chrome.
And it is your lady friend Bonnie.
It's episode 61, and before we jump on into it, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So to let y'all know what this is about, we go through these albums track by track. We start off telling you how we're connected to the artist, and then go and give our little thoughts on every single song that appears on the project, because it's really looking at the art of the album. We are not the most astute hip-hop scholars. We are folk who are trying to learn and to understand what the music brings to us. So,
AKA, we are white.
that's part of it. We don't come from that background, as what we're trying to say. So just take that with a grain of salt, that our opinions are coming from a place of trying to learn, not from a place of like condescension or mockery or anything. And we really take your comments seriously. And just to show that we do like comments, I'm going to read our favorite comment from last week. This is from our review of Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday, because every 10 episodes we do a girl, just to make sure that we get some lady rappers up there. Mm-hmm. And Randy White goes, Pink Friday's a classic?
Apparently.
To which I would say, I don't know if I would really call it a classic myself, but it's not really that we're reviewing albums that are classics per se. We're reviewing albums to see why people may think they are classics, so that we can get that point.
I mean, and we give our grades, right? And so if it's a 4.0, or more, we consider it a classic.
I'm just too liberal with grades, so like everything I review is a classic lately. So I don't know if like.
But I mean, there have been some that haven't been classics, which
true.
We have given
and then there are some
grades.
that get exceptionally higher grades. I think moving forward, unless it's a 4.5 or higher for me, I'm not even gonna call it a classic. Like it's got to be.
But none of mine are gonna be that.
That's fine. Maybe some will be. But all I'm saying is the goal is for us to just take a look at these albums that have got some relevance to them, that are your favorites, that are just stuff we maybe never would have given the time of day to, and that's like the point of what we're trying to do here.
And I just have one thing to say. Why can Pink Friday not be a classic?
Because it's not consistently as solid a project as some of the other.
But I mean, if
classic-y
overall,
classics.
if it does come out to like a high enough grade, if it is like consistently good, it's not like it's terrible.
I'm just saying, I would say that it's hard to put Illmatic and Pink Friday in the same conversation. It would just.
I don't know. They both have their time and their place, and they're both good. We're not saying that they're bad.
I think Pink Friday has a certain dated feel. I'm saying that it's not that it's a bad album, but it's not like revolutionary. Like I would not feel comfortable
I think,
calling it a classic album. I'd say it's a good album of a female rapper in the last 10 years, and it has.
It also left a mark on.
Anyway,
history,
that's really not at all what we're here to talk about today. But that's a conversation for you guys to leave your opinion on. Do you think Pink Friday is a classic? Do you? Anyway.
Yeah, maybe it's just us.
Before we get into it, though, I do want to give a shout-out to Mozart, our Patreon. We are obliged to give him a shout-out in every video. He also, as you'll see if you go to the page, he gets access to the content like the second it's uploaded. So for like this video, he's been able to watch it for like a whole day before anyone else. And he also gets to participate in the request raffle, which once a month he gets to throw out a request. And for everybody who joins him on our Patreon quest, you all get thrown your request, and once a month we pick from just those things. So if you want your boys album to be reviewed, if you want some obscure thing, if you want something so raunchy that Bonnie's gonna blush, whatever you want to see, that's your best opportunity to cut the line. And we're
First thing that comes to mind is a sex tape for some reason.
I mean, maybe there is.
Like, maybe you guys review this sex tape?
It's just an album, and like every line is like. I mean, like every line is like, and then she put the balls in the. I mean, Too Short album, like just kind of like it's just possible that stuff comes up. Anyway, just to let you know that's there. We're trying to get to the next level to give you a better product, and we need some help. So if you like what we do and you want to have like a cooler setup and shit, this is a good way to show some love. On that note, we are in for a fucking long one. This thing.
Long but good, right?
Yeah. And why don't you introduce the album for us today, Mr. Christopher?
Well, for today's Classic Quest album review, we went with the Notorious B.I.G's album, Life After Death.
So we tried something with the Bone Thugs and Harmony Art of War. We split it into two. That second video just totally did not get as many clicks as the first one, and we barely get a lot of clicks as it is. So we said, "Fuck it, we're going in for the whole album tonight."
Well, I mean, and we haven't done like a really long album in a while.
That's
So
true.
I think that it's
since
worth
the Art
going
of
into.
War, that was like
No, but
Well, no,
like
because
one
Art of War was
consistent
split
album.
too. I mean, I'm also thinking like Headspace albums. Like we've had Culture 2 from Migos. We've had
we've had our fair.
we've had our fair share of like 20.
We haven't
20
had a
something.
review that.
Be legit, and E40 was like almost 20 tracks.
Yeah,
So
we've had a lot of long reviews. So this one is probably going to be a long review, and that's okay. So we encourage you to watch as long as you want, and we won't take it personal if you don't finish this one.
Well,
let's
pause
say.
it and just come back.
But
guys.
before we
take a break.
we are gonna put the whole track list is below. So if you just want to cherry pick the songs you care about, because you might not care about all 24 songs, you can see when we talk about each one. So. We reviewed Notorious B.I.G's other album,
Ready to Die.
and we gave our whole context with Biggie there. My quick version is this will be the second full Biggie album I've listened to. I listened to Ready to Die. I was not a Biggie fan prior to that. Now I appreciate the Biggie, and we're going to talk about how much more I appreciate the Biggie at the end of this one. And I think that's enough for now, just because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And you?
I pretty much my standpoint from the Biggie album Ready to Die, it was good. I enjoyed it. I think I left off on the note of I'm not really into that, I guess, sound or anything. So this next time going around for me, it's like I respect what Biggie does, but I guess I'm just not like on that bandwagon personally. So we're gonna have fun with this album review.
That's all right. And your lady friend Bonnie, why don't you inform the
Your
folks?
lady friend Bonnie.
By the way, she spits a mean machine gun funk. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I have definitely grown to love Biggie. So I was really excited to actually go into this album, long or not. I was like, yes. I'm like, every song, give it to me. And then, like, I don't know. I mean, I went in, really excited, and I came out, and it was a great album. So I'm excited to diversify my Biggie knowledge.
So it's called Life After Death, which is an interesting thing because the last album was called Ready to Die, and you just get this like you can tell he's almost obsessed with death with this, and it's an interesting idea.
He's aware of like the situation.
And you mean my first thought is like eternal life and Christianity, heaven and hell, and the afterlife and stuff. But then it's also, I guess, maybe the idea of life after, like when you're supposed to die, or like when you're facing your immortality or something like that. So it's a really cool title. And then you have him like next to a hearse in like a Grim Reaper-esque suit.
He looks like
dark.
he looked on a quick instant. He looked like a Black Edgar Allan Poe, a little bit, like just that grim, dark kind of look to it. The hearse kind of looks a bit sketchy. The like the kind of the photograph style of the album covers looks like those Polaroid type photos. I feel like it's kind of like a little bit sketchy on it. Life After Death is kind of like scratched in, engraved into the back of the hearse in some like paint form. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. This is the remastered edition we found on Spotify, so I'm not sure if there's a lot of difference between that and the non-remastered edition.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you have any thoughts here?
I mean, I feel like I don't think he looks like Edgar Allan Poe. I feel like he looks a little bit more like a Black Alfred Hitchcock. And like he does kind of also mention that kind of in like one of his songs, so that's kind of like what he was kind of going for. And I think that's kind of interesting. Plus, the song came out after this album came out after he died.
Right.
He was killed on March 9th, 1997, and this album was released March 25th, 1997. So it wasn't long after, and so basically everything was, most of it I assume was recorded already and ready to go, and there wasn't really. It really was. And I think that the life after death in this case, it's sort of like his legacy. And also I think he kind of is warning, kind of throughout the album, we kind of get, to know like his tough side, and that he's kind of warning people that, he's going to continue on in his legacy and his gangsterism. And just because you killed him doesn't mean someone's not going to get you. I think that's kind of also what it means.
That's very fair. I never even thought about it. Was the album supposed to be called this before he passed away? I don't know. I didn't look into
Probably.
that at all.
Part of me thinks
Yeah, probably.
just to kind of segue into the album, right, and into the first track, we have the intro.
So why don't we talk about the intro?
Well, yeah, let's start with that 'cause I can...
Yeah, Life After Death intro. I was just thinking, what would we do without Bonnie? How could we completely forget to bring up the uncanny demise and timing with this album in light of the themes and stuff that get covered? Good on you, Bonnie.
Right.
So, Chris, please continue with what you were saying now that we're into the intro.
Well, with that little intro and little bit that the audience may have heard, you could kind of hear like a beeping noise in the background. For me, it felt like he's in a hospital. You've got Puff Daddy there talking to what I'm assuming is Biggie, kind of like trying to get him to come back to life, and like it's not over, you're not done, like you still got more work to do, you still got stuff to do. Which, from what I was trying to say earlier, it kind of leads me to believe that Biggie got shot, and this is like his life after death in terms of like, he was supposed to die, but he didn't. So now he's got like all of this stuff that he has to take care of now after being shot and everything. That's kind of how like I took the setup of the intro a little bit.
It starts with suicidal thoughts from the end of the last album playing. Like it's just so it plays out with the gunshot at the end of that album, right? So it's kind of like, to me, like this is just part 2, and he's like establishing that really strongly, and it was really impressive to me. And so it comes in, and then the rest of this, I guess he doesn't actually kill himself at the end of that. Cliffhanger ending, spoil reveal. And then you got Puffy talking to him, and the dramatic music. Damn, we was supposed to rule the world, baby. We was unstoppable. The shit can't be over. No, I'm sorry, but Puff Daddy is both amazing and ridiculous at the same time. The more I listen to him, the more I like him, is all I can say. I don't necessarily think he's the coolest kid in town, but he doesn't have to be, and that's what makes Puff Daddy incredible.
Okay.
You got too much living to do, too much unfinished business. It ain't over. Beep. Live your life. And then it goes into like the album, so it's like, I guess he dies and he gets reborn or something to that effect. I don't fully get what Puffy was going for there, but it does have this like big overarching cinematic, like you just finished the volume of Biggie's life, part 1 on Ready to Die, which is this grandiose, crazy story, and it ends with this crazy suicide scene, and then this movie starts previously on, goes back into the album, comes in, brings it in, cheesy ass Puffy's there doing his cheesy thing.
Like you get that cinematic
and then
feel to it.
It just kind of ends, it gets all phasey, and then flows right into the next track. And I don't know, I just thought it was pretty cool. It was like a really good way to get you in the vibe that like Biggie's back with a vengeance,
Yeah, I could feel that.
For sure. I really liked it. I thought it was like a perfect entrance or intro. Like you said, it was very like cinematic. It introduces, previously on like Ready to Die, which is like his last album. This is kind of what I'm, you're hearing like a hospital, and like, Puff is talking to like his friend, and kind of just saying like, you can't die, it's not over. And then, we have like the flat line where he obviously dies. And like, I don't know if this was recorded, this particular song, but if it was, if this was recorded after Biggie died, or maybe he went in and did this again, like, but like still use like Biggie's clip or whatever. I guess he doesn't really say anything here. I think that it was a really heartfelt moment. I don't think it was ridiculous at all. I think it was like clear that it was a powerful friendship, and he didn't want him to die.
Look,
that's how I interpreted it. Knowing that it was like it came after. Maybe I'm looking back at it like, oh, like,
it's not that. It's that Puffy's the kind of guy that in his
he's very emotional.
He's the fucking Drake of that era. Like he's that like
not just
like if
that
Twitter was around, it would be like Puffy so soft memes would be like the thing. That's how I'm picturing him
Puffy's
here.
the type of guy
so
who
you're right. Like it's sincere and it's
I think it is. I think it's a little bit cheesy.
So
yes.
over the top and like
Like
he's
a
trying
little over dramatic.
Like he's
But
trying
it's
to act.
reality. It was really these were probably the same words that maybe he said to him in the hospital when he was dying.
Which,
you know, like maybe it's the same sort of thing.
It doesn't.
I mean, I'm not certain. I don't have the facts. I didn't look at this app, but I mean, I'm just thinking about this now.
Even if it was true like that, the way he delivers them in this setting, it's got the feel of the Mo Money, Mo Problems music video. That's all I'm trying to say. It's got the feel of that, which is not a problem because it's entertaining and that's its goal and it's heartfelt.
Yes, he's obviously doing an exaggerated version, but I think that it still is.
But
like
I don't
a
think
true...
he was trying to do an exaggerated version. I think
Puff just cares so much for Biggie. Maybe a little too much, if you know what I mean. But
so I gave this a 4.5. I'm gonna throw that in.
I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 5. I loved it. I thought it was interesting, and it was a great intro.
It was
and great storytelling.
It's just hard to get past the Puff.
Oh well, there's many more stories to be told.
Oh,
Listen, after they watch this, they're gonna be like, somebody's gotta die.
The thing he used to sling on the 16th floor. Check it. I look deeper. I see.
Bonnie has requested to go first because she has, quote unquote, a lot to say.
I didn't request at all. But anyways, I will start. Yeah, I mean, I love this song. It was really interesting. This, I think, was definitely the first time I've heard this song. So, I mean, this was like, you know, after listening to it a couple of times, I really enjoyed it. So basically, like, this is a direct quote from Genius that I took. I said, Big is woken up by a friend, saying with bad news. After finding out their mutual friend has been murdered, the two plan to quickly retaliate against the murderer, Jason. Unfortunately, the story ends in tragedy. So that's taken exactly from there. And that's basically what the whole story is about. And this is basically, the main focus is C-Rock. His friend was murdered and kind of, and it was done really well for a murder, right? I guess really well. You know, not much of a trace. And so he's got to figure out who it is that did this. Yeah, and so like they thought that they could like get away with it, but like Biggie's gonna find out who it was, and you know he's warning people about the murder, and he doesn't want to spray his gun everywhere. He just wants to aim at one person. So I mean, he needs to find out who that one person is because he doesn't just want to kill willy nilly, you know, like he doesn't just want to be like shooting slugs or bullets at people for no good reason.
Sense of like
it's a big point in this song that only a chump shoots at innocence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it also shows a sense of like a little bit of compassion. Like he's
and he doesn't want to just kill innocent people.
Right,
you know, he wants to kill shitheads.
Like if you fuck with Biggie, then that is like justification for him to kill
But
you.
you know he's a sweet guy, and so he's not just gonna go kill, you know, like I said, anybody. I also really enjoyed like the Super Mario like bouncy sounds or like the jumping sounds of Mario that are featured in this song throughout. I thought that was like really like a cool, interesting sound. He also tries to sell records like Snoop, so I was wondering if maybe Snoop was maybe his role model, but he's from like the West Coast, so that's interesting.
If I can comment on that,
Yeah.
I think it's deliberate. I think he's part of one of the points he's trying to make on this album is that it's not that he has beef with the West Coast. He's cool with the West. Snoop's dope to him. So he's, as a New York artist, he's not allowed to rep the West at all at this time. That's why he goes, sell records like Snoop. Oops.
Yeah.
So that oops, they're like, oh shit, I'm not allowed to say that.
I shouldn't compare myself to some other great artist because he's from California.
Exactly. So he's kind of pointing out that, you know, and then we'll find out later on the album that he has particular people on the West side that he has beef with, but he likes the West. He has no problem with it.
He does enjoy vacationing there.
And so, yeah.
So what else was I going to say here? I mean, basically the fact that he doesn't want to like waste bullets and just kill anybody else. He finds him and then shoots him in the back, only for him to turn around and to be like holding like his like baby daughter in his arms. And like that's like sadly part of like life, like in like this sort of situation. And like if you're involved in murder and stuff like that, like, you know, you could be killed in front of your child, in front of your, you know, you're while holding your child. Like it's a really shitty realization. And then like there's like the sound of like a baby crying at the end, and like rain, and like feet kind of like running away, or like that kind of stuff. And then like the sound of like a heartbeat. So it's a dramatic and a tragic story. And Biggie obviously is like amazing. He's got great flow. He is an amazing storyteller. This comes off really like just fantastic. And like Biggie's like excited to like get revenge like on behalf of his friend because nobody fucks with Biggie or his crew and gets away with it. Somebody's got to die. Right? That's the name of the song.
Pun intended.
So I gave this a 5 on 5. It was great. I loved it a lot.
Nice.
And you, Mr. Christopher?
Bonnie did a really great job of covering the entire track for what it is. It's an amazing story that Biggie's got a way of just telling stories that you really get sucked into. Absolutely incredible on how he goes through the roller coaster of emotions of like he finds out his boy got killed, and now he's like raging and he's calling up his team and he's doing this all the things necessary to find out who clipped his boy. What I wanted to touch upon was a few things near the end. One, the fact that when he found out who the killer was or the dude was, and Biggie clips him, there's the baby, right?
Yeah.
Now, right after that, there's a little part in the background where I wanted to make sure I heard it because I read the Genius annotation. Biggie is scared now.
Oh yeah.
Like for that quick moment, for what I've heard from Biggie doesn't sound scared to me. He sounds like somebody who's ready to fuck shit up, who can deal with problems, who's not afraid of anything. And then that moment when I heard Biggie go, "Yo, I think I hit the kid." You could hear.
But I was wondering about that because I did read that as well. But then we hear the baby crying, so obviously she's not.
Well, I mean,
killed.
I'm not saying he killed her.
Just hit her.
Yeah, he could have grazed her shoulder or something. You know what I mean? Like depending on how it is, it could have been anything. Hit the foot or whatever, right?
I guess. I think that's exactly it. Like he obviously didn't want to like waste bullets, and like that's what he's
right,
saying.
But not just that. He's also got a kid at the time too.
Yeah.
So that also is impacting him. Like not only like I was saying, he's compassionate to innocent people, but especially kids. And as much as he's a savage, this is like that instant turnaround point. Well,
he is a daddy.
But like it's more than that. He previously I don't know if I quoted it. So yeah. Like, slow down, fuck all that planning shit. Run up in the cribs, make the cats abandon ship. See, like, you do 10-year bids, miss they want and murder innocent kids, not I. So if you look at that little part that he has in the same verse, right, he's kind of pointing out that he's meticulous. He has, like, a disdain for people who are actually savage,
Right.
See, he's not savage. He's just ferocious. He's willing to do whatever needs to be done, but he's actually kind of civilized, gentlemanly, like almost like more like a mafia guy of the modern era. That's
kinda
more
reminds
discreet.
Me of honestly, it kind of reminds me of Jigga of Jay-Z a little bit, like that mafioso type person, but
Yeah,
he does it
absolutely.
like
And same era as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's like when they came out, they would have all been like around the same time as each other, and this like this is not that far off from like Reasonable Doubt in the early era of Jay-Z, right?
It's interesting that we don't really see that too much anymore. Where like like rappers are like wearing like suits and like walking around like they own the
A$AP
shit.
Rocky.
But
Well, you do.
Like,
You do.
like the
It's like a
guy
different-
we reviewed yesterday.
he wears a suit.
Yeah,
Ace-
like,
A$AP. So yeah, but
in a
A$AP's
tux.
also always in like the newest, highest fashion, whatever's coming out around
But
the
that's
fucking
that's
corner
the
3
point.
weeks from
So
now.
are these guys. That's
Yeah.
why they have lines like Versace this and this, because back then it wasn't just something you said to have money. It's because they actually, it
Right.
was, but it was also because of the fashion.
Right. As per the rest of my just point for the song, that was really the 2 points I wanted to touch upon. I like the story building. I like how he presents everything, and it's just gut wrenching the minute he switches up and throws something tragic in your face after like you're in this like adrenaline rush of like, yeah, we're gonna get this guy, we're gonna kill him, and then boom, here's tragedy, and you're like, whoa, like really effective. I give it a 4.5 on 5.
Yeah. It kind of like starts off with like a gloomy, dark, rainy beat, and you gotta keep in mind, like Puff just brought him back to life, right? Puff has just expressed his love for him and all that, and now he's been brought back to life, and it's just gloomy, dark, fucking stormy background, like literally, it's the music version of "It was a dark and stormy night," and blah blah. And like the story's about to start, and then Biggie's like, "I'm sitting in the crib dreaming about Learjets and coops and the way Salt shoops and how they sell records like Snoop." Oops. So he's definitely thinking about how like I guess the Salt and Pepper ladies are doing so well with their intercourse-based records that they're popping off high volume, like Mr. Doggy Dog himself. He's interrupted by the doorbell, gets up quick, cocks his shit, stops the dogs from barking. But in that point, you can hear between the doorbell and him with the dogs barking, dogs are literally barking the whole way through. And it's worth noting that as he's telling the story and he's layering it out, like you're picturing it almost like a little novella that's being told, there is these sound effects that go along with everything. And the production is just absolutely cinematic and truly stellar. Like, find out everything is Bonnie put it down. In the second verse, we get this whole backstory of what happened and when this guy went away and whatever. I mean, it was cool, like, because you get like this like 3-act tale. Act 1, Biggie finds out about the problem. Act 2, Biggie gets told what's up. But it's really like nothing happens for 2 verses, right? So it's just a lot of hyping yourself up, getting ready to go in for that kill, and then so much happens in that third verse that you're almost stuck with like a little tear in your eye, you know? Like, I mean, we covered like the bulk of the climax of it. Biggie comes in, he's ready to take out this guy, he's cool and calculated, he's not like you other motherfuckers, and then he blasts, but he never, that one detail he overlooked resulted in, you know, this situation. So all that to say, the song is powerful. His flow comes in. Let it be said, Biggie flows like really well. His rhymes are so clear and crisp, and the way he rhymes, where it's all off the top and he just puts it together in his head without writing it down, is so incredible. But like, you really just get it. Like, you're right there in his head, and this is just his imagination coming to life. And I think it's super cool, super fluid. And I'm giving this a 4.5 on 5, like Chris. To me, it's not like flawless. It's a bit like, I gotta be in the mood for it. I'm not gonna lie. But as far as these horror stories or these like really drawn out tales go, this is one of the most incredible ones, you know?
Very creative. You say
Anyway,
that multiple times on this album.
Yeah.
The next one starts with some classic lyrics. Let's talk about Hypnotize.
Can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, and I just love your.
Hypnotize is a song that I have heard come on at an insanely large number of social gatherings of various ethnic backgrounds, social classes, and environments, ranging from
It's a universally
grandmothers
liked song.
being present to not. And the same thing happens everywhere. Everybody makes a lot of fucking noise, and everybody pretends they can rap along, and then usually there's a couple of people who know every word, and most people just throw in their ad-libs at the lines they know.
That everybody knows.
The chorus.
Biggie, 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 can't you see?
Which is an interpolation of the, what is it,
Lottie
Lottie-Dotties,
Dottie,
of the Jimmy, whatever, Ricky, can't.
Slick Rick.
So yeah, like an
Mr.
interpolation
Eye
of that track, and then so that's cool. Like, I like the way he did it on the chorus. I mean, I remember this being on the radio when I was a kid. So I'm old enough to remember
and it was
this.
beat out because it was number 1 on the Hot Billboard 100 list or whatever it is for 3 weeks, and it was beat out by none other than Mbop.
Hanson.
Mbop
Listen,
by Hanson.
Mbop is a classic. Okay,
It is also a classic.
As much as I like Biggie, there is something about Mbop that is really
that
really
the
special.
Mbop?
Doop, shabab, shabab.
Oh my god.
But so yeah,
I remember
mean,
that. Those were the days.
basically, the first feeling you have of this song is, how pop is this, right? Like
Right.
that beat, that like
Boom,
you
boom,
just
boom,
instantly
boom,
want to
boom,
start
boom, boom.
doing some
You knew how to make
basic
money, man.
2-step here. The video is this is the one with the video, I think, with
yeah.
the boat and the green screen
it's
and
awful.
and the
It's real
everything. It is
Real
an
bad.
experience
Don't
to
watch
watch this music video, and I highly encourage you to.
Well, like, it's an experience
But
for
this isn't
us
as
now.
bad-
what we
so let's
see.
say you've
Like,
smoked a fat blunt, watch that fucking video, and it is really amazing to see. You know, I'm not criticizing it, because you know what that was? That was like, what, 96, 97 here, I think.
Right.
And that is some like real effort to legitimize hip hop, right? Like
Right.
Puffy is trying to go high end and cinematic with it. That's how I interpret that. Now, it came off how I perceive Puffy, like a corny and dorky whole situation. There's that scene where Biggie smiles, and that they use it like 8 times in the video because he just has this boyish smile, and he goes back and forth, and then it's just something else.
Oh, is that the same one where he's at the penthouse and it's like nighttime or whatever? Or is that another?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I feel like I'm
Anyway,
getting them all mixed up. But yeah, that
But
was,
there's classic lines like "Dead right, if the head right, Biggie there, air night." I understand where he's coming from. That's all I'm trying to say. Papa been smooth since days of underoos. Never lose, never choose to bruise crews who do something to us, talk through us. Girls want to walk to us, want to do us, screw us. Who, us? Yeah, me and Puffy, because I have to say that you guys get laid too, you know? Like, it's just him and Puff, man. They're close like Starsky and Hutch. Stick the like, it's good. It's got this punchy little flows. Innocuous rhymes. Like, this is definitely not the I'm fucking killing you. This is the more I'm rich and me and Puffy are getting laid song. There's a lot of me and Puffy are getting laid lines.
yeah.
And it's just like, it's kind of really strong like that. It's got this okay, he's right. It's got a hypnotizing flow. And you really do get caught up in that. The second, he's got lines like, I put hoes in NY and DKNY and Miami, DC, Versace, Philly hoes go with Moshinko, every cootie with a booty bought a Coogee. I had to Google Coogee. I didn't know what that was. Now I know what a Coogee sweater is because I Googled that. But then my favorite, because I'm all into the poop lines these days. Now, who's the real dookie, meaning who's really the shit? And I'm like, did Biggie just take a dookie line and use it to call himself to shit because he knows all the money into fashion and stuff?
Is in the poop bars?
Yeah, it's pretty. He used the poop bar to compliment himself. Another genius using poop lines, throwing it out there. Basically, like, he's just fucking solid. Like, and at last, rapping about blunts and broads, tits and bras, menage a trois, sex in expensive cars. I'm still leave you on the payment, condo paid for. You know, it's just kind of it's coming through. You know, hit him with the force like Obi. Another really cool line. He's talking about how he's so strong with his skill. He gets them to take their clothes off with his
geeking out
gigs.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Can't help it, man. This song is an undeniable classic. Now, even if it's got some corniness to it, it's just the right kind of everything to call a 5, man. Like, it's undeniable the power of this song. I believe in 20, 30 years, if this song comes on at a party, kids who've never heard it before will be jamming with their grandparents who are pretending they're 20 again. It's a good song. How do y'all feel?
Well, you covered the entire track, so there's not much more.
I'm certain she found stuff I didn't say.
For me, anyway, there's not much for me more to put on it. But I do have, I did kind of get a concept out of this song during the the chorus when you got these female vocals kind of like explaining how like they're getting hypnotized by what Biggie's saying and how he moves and stuff. And I was trying to think about it like, are they really talking about, like, you know, the way Biggie sounds and what he's doing, or is it a little bit deeper than that? And with the line you quoted, I got hoes in NY with DKNY, and he's kind of like naming off what different people in different states.
I don't like that one lyric a little bit. I'm going to throw it out there. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, the way that I felt like he was kind of like naming what people like in certain states or certain like areas or whatnot, I feel like it's kind of this, I'm hypnotizing you because I know what you like and I can mimic that to make you want to listen to me. So when I'm in one city, I rock this, I do this, I rock this way. And then in the next city, I rock this way, rock that way, because I know that's going to influence you to like me. And that's kind of how I took the song. I thought it was really cool. But I did land it at a 4 only because it kind of played out for me. Like, I know a lot of people who've played this. It's not the first time I've heard this. It's... For me, at this point, if I hear it at a party, I'm just like, yep, it wouldn't be a party without hearing this, you know? Like, it's, I don't know. For me, it's just a little bit played out.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe you're also just not, like, attracted to Biggie.
Yeah. The last,
I mean, I'm not.
At the last Biggie review, why does Cruz hate Biggie? That was a comment we got a couple of times. I don't know. I don't get it. I heard the song a few times. I'm no longer interested.
It's like, look.
Anyways,
I mean, here's the thing. Who can rap like really, the way he raps on this song is
I don't
possibly
question it.
No,
I
no,
don't question
but it's
it.
possibly one of the finest displays of eloquent, fun rap
Absolutely.
in hip hop history.
Absolutely.
The beat is just a mesmerizing, interesting loop. It's hard to say there are a lot of better rap songs than this.
I just have a different preference. Like, I know it's fucked up to say, but, like, I can appreciate and respect what he does. I don't know. I'm more likely to go listen to Tech Nine, as, like, silly as it sounds. I'm more likely to listen to Tech Nine's
I would
album
believe
than...
you a year ago if you said that. I don't actually think that's true today. I think you really should think about it a little more because I find your taste has evolved and you like better music these days. But you act sometimes with these grades like you still prefer the music you did before we started all of this. I'm just saying, when you think about it, what's an actually better song than this? Like all around, name one Tech Nine song that stands next to Hypnotize as like an actually...
But that's the name of preference. Like
we're
prefer...
talking quality. We're talking actual skills and abilities. Tech Nine is easy to criticize. You can barely understand what he says.
Right.
Biggie said everything clear and smooth and shit. Like there's a certain... I mean, look, I understand if you wanted to like criticize it because you felt it was bad, but your exact words were, I heard it a lot at many parties, therefore I no longer like it because it's played out.
But that goes for any song.
I actually
Like,
don't
for
think
me,
that's like, but that's like, just as like a tangent. It's
Right.
not really, like that means the song is so good, right? Because it's timeless.
I can
It's ageless.
acknowledge that, but for me, it's like For me, it's not timeless. Like it could be a timeless song, and I can acknowledge that. Yeah, even X amount of years later, people are still bumping the track. I can acknowledge what greatness it is, but it's not timeless for me. At a certain point, it's like I can go into any other party and then still just, oh, nope, there's Biggie, like this is Hypnotize. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing and get into it. And like some people might, I'm going to continue having my conversation or I'm going to do whatever it is I'm doing. Like it's just, it doesn't hit me the same way as like when I may have first heard it at a party. When I first got introduced to it, I was like, oh, this is dope. This is cool. I like this. But the 50th time at like whatever party I'm at, it's like, okay, it's just, I don't know. It's like it's something I'm going to hear in the club if I go to the club. When I go to the club, I know there's certain songs I'm going to hear. For me, anyway, like just how I process shit and how I live life.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that stand. But how you feel, Bonnie?
For me, like this is like epic beat, epic flow, epic lyrics. Like everything about this is good. I mean the chorus, epic. Basically the song is about like how they're like hot shit. You know, like him flaunting his like style and his game, and like how he's got all these ladies everywhere, and like how he's wanted, and like you know he's just living it up, and you know that's it.
So
and like that's why like everybody else is like broke and like
everything Tech Nine raps about.
But sure. For me, like I was laughing at all of like the puff like effects that are like added in. Like I thought they were really cute.
They were really ridiculous. They're almost funny.
Yeah, like they're hilarious. That's what they are. You know, just like has like a lot of sex, and like you know he has like you know he gets all these ladies, and like even at that, like he's not gonna forget that he doesn't want you to forget that he can still like kill you. So he's very powerful and confident and like gangster, and like you know he's just kind of like living, you know, hanging out with his crew, doing what he's got to do. The second you hear this song, like for me, like I like just start dancing. You just start moving to it. Like it's just like a good, like it's like slow and melodic but powerful at the same time. Like Biggie's voice is just hypnotizing, obviously the way like it's supposed to be. And I think that this song, like he hypnotizes you to like dance and move, and like you like feel his song, and it's you know it's gonna keep on living forever. I thought this song was great. I mean, I feel hypnotized. I like it a lot. It's a 5 on 5 for me.
All right, so the next one is Kicking the Dow, Waving the Foul.
Lady, Frankie baby, ain't no telling where I may be. May see me in DC at how.
I don't like this beat as much. I mean, it's not a bad song. It's just that beat does not have the hypnotizing, draw me in feel of the other ones so far.
See, for me, like I loved it because as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, because it is like a feature of the song "I Put a Spell on You" by Screamin' Jay Hawkins, which I like have loved for ages and I listen to all the time. So I was very excited by that.
That's cool. But the Mad Rapper returns. If y'all remember, off of Ready to Die, there was the Mad Rapper. He is particularly jealous because he's put out 4 albums now, ain't got paid. Biggie just had to put out 1 album, and now he's completely popped and stuff.
Yep.
It's good commentary. Like, I really, it's a good commentary on maybe how, when you are successful, what other haters and people on the grind are. It's a good commentary on the attitude that you as a person who may have put all that work and are not seeing the success need to consider, because nowadays all we see are these mad rapper types that Biggie's talking about all over the Twitter, all over the Instagram. Oh, fuck this person, fuck that person. Oh, they changed, they're not doing it like I want, blah, 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 blah. You know,
You talking mad rappers or fans? Because I'm trying to just
Both.
understand, like...
Ritz is a mad rapper from that last album we listened to.
Explain.
He has songs like the Dork Rap, where he's mad that these particular rappers are shining better than him. So in a sense, he's behaving like this mad rapper in this mad rapper skit. So when you have all these guys who are mad at the mainstream and what's popping, because at the time Biggie was mainstream, Biggie was popping.
I would. Okay. I'm not going to argue that. I would associate more with Hobson, trying to understand.
It's a great example.
Like that.
There's multiple examples.
I'm just the Ritz one with Dork Rap was just for me. Like I was just like, but I thought he was trying to prove to people he can make smart lyrics too.
No, he was making fun of fucking
Okay.
dorks. Like, he was making fun of people. He was like, these guys are making lame hip-hop. They're not real hip-hop like me. Fuck these guys. Mad rapper.
It evolves, man.
You know, and I'm not saying that there are particular guys who are outperforming him or not. I don't fucking care about the numbers. I just know that when I hear those types of songs, I hear this kind of mad rapper attitude. And I can tell you one thing. You dissing guys who are more successful than you in the way that these mad rappers do, like, fuck them, cause whatever, like the way people treat a Lil Yachty.
You're just jealous.
Or whatever. It is. It just comes off like you're jealous, and it makes me maybe like respect you a little bit. I think that's what Biggie's trying to say, because in another day and age, Biggie was maybe treated like Lil Yachty's being treated today.
Right.
You know, if you really, really think about it.
Right.
Maybe people didn't understand why these crazy violent death rhymes were outperforming their spiritual knowledge-based shit, you know?
Absolutely.
So if you really, like, consider the perspectives a little bit, so...
Well,
I think that was one of the cooler parts of, like, whatever. So that skit was aight.
Speaking on death rhymes, I like when he went, on your mark, get set, when I spark you wet, look how dark it get, when you're marked for death, should I start your breath, or should I let you die in fear, you start to cry, ask why? Like, that was just like... You can feel the intensity. You can feel that he's trying to take control. You can feel that he's overpowering these mad rappers, these people who you know are just mad at him for being successful. But he's also kind of questioning, like, what have you done? Like, yeah, okay, we get this skit at the beginning where, like, you get the guys that I put out 4 albums, but what have you really done with those 4 albums? Why haven't they popped like I have? Why haven't they, you know, got the same flair?
mean?
Like, what do they mean? Right.
Or your reign on the top was short like leprechaun. As I crush Shokar Willie's thugs and rapper Don, getting that ass quick, fast like Ramadan. On a first listen, it kind of sounds like Biggie wants to bang somebody in the ass for a quick line, which is a little weird. Now I get that probably means he wants to beat somebody down lyrically and shit, which I understand, but some of these 90s bars really come off sounding like they're interested in homosexual sexual relations, even if that wasn't their intent. I just wanted to throw that out there. But we know that he's definitely on the opposite end of that shit, because he's got You Should Know My Stilo, went from 10 G's for blow to 30 G's a show to orgies with hoes I never seen before. So Jesus, get off the notorious penis before I squeeze and bust. If the beef between us, we can settle it. And you get this sense that He's living the dream. He's gotten all those things. We knew on the last album he was waking up with 4 girls in the bed. You can imagine how there are certain people out there who have put up maybe album after album and trying to get some success, might be a little bit jelly and shit.
Right.
So he's coming in and he's like, it's a little bit like establishing, I got all this success and shit, and he's willing to finish beef if you want to start some shit because he's fucking hating at it, you know? Son, I'm surprised you run with them. I think they got cum in them because they nothing but dicks. Fucking love that line. Like, this is like a little bit how I felt about Biggie. In general, a lot of the songs kind of approach the same subject matter, but he was just able to keep saying things that I thought was...
Because he says it uniquely every time.
Yeah, like, trying to blow up like nitro and dynamite sticks is the next line. You're just not expecting it. You know... This goes out to those who choose to use disrespectful views on the king of NY. Fuck that. Why try? Throw bleach in your eye. You know, like, yeah, he coming in. I like the line, sold more powder than Johnson & Johnson. That was pretty fucking great because he's implying that his Coke sales are doing better than baby powder sales and shit, you know? Biggie's a funny fucking guy. He comes in with this, like, he's going to kick in the door. He's going to wave his 44 at you. Until when MCs used to be on cruddy shit, took home ready to die, listen, study shit, now they on some money shit. But I understand parts of this are jobs at Nas, specifically that little part there, because while we talk about Illmatic today and heralded a classic, it was not exactly commercially successful. So all the old hip-hop heads loved it and praised it today, didn't necessarily buy it back then. Whereas Biggie was chart-topping, meaning he got sales behind it. But then we all know that Nas' second album, which kind of did have a little bit more of that mafioso pop sound going on for it, sold much better. So if you think about that, now I'm not saying it's about it. This is what the internet told me. But it's ill what MCs used to be, and it's Illmatic. MCs used to be on some cruddy shit, took down Ready to Die, listen, studied shit, now they on some money shit, you know? Like, especially with all the criticism of him jacking the album to cover it all that, it's a little bit funny just how Biggie and Nas may have jacked each other like that. That came out a little bit different than I meant it to.
No, it's okay. Some of these 90s bars, as you said. You know?
I feel like Biggie's flow is consistently excellent, and on the exception of one song, it is always top notch. There's one song on here where I'm going to have a different opinion. 4.25 though, because that beat and that skit. Now, I like the Mad Rapper skit, but like your 5th time hearing it, it's a little bit like, I kind of wish I could hit that skip button, but you can't because you want to listen to the song, but you got to go through like a minute and 20 seconds of, I think it's Premier, who is the one who is playing that role on it. And it's cool, and apparently they made it up, and the girl is actually the girl at the front desk and shit like that. The rhymes are good. The songs are fun to listen to, but the beat's a little grating to me. So that's that one.
Okay.
Nice.
So, I mean, this is basically, you know, we basically covered most of it. This is an interview with Mad Rapper, like a Q&A at this point. Like, he's interviewing, like, the audience. And, you know, and then he's swearing, and he's, like, all pissed off and whatever. And the guy has to remind him that this is a family show, and, like, he's just mad. And he's just basically bitching about not making money the way Biggie is, and thinks his music is better than Biggie's. And, like, he doesn't understand, like, why he isn't famous and Biggie is. And, you know, that's basically it. We've covered, you know, haters gonna hate. That's basically it. So he's the king, and the chorus, I also wanted to mention, kind of sounds like a skipping record. Like, it just kind of sounds like that. I thought that was kind of interesting. And he's going to kick in the door waving a gun, and then you'll be, like, begging for, like, him not to, like, kill you or, like, pistol whip you or whatever he's going to do to you because you've already done something that has pissed him off. So he's rich and has everything he wants, and he will destroy, like, all of, like, his haters and criticizers, and, you know, what could be wrong with that? He's going to kill all his, like, enemies. So I like this song. I give it a 4.75.
Nice. I think part of the reason why people are hating on Biggie, who are like other rappers that are hating on Biggie, are because they're not in the same realm. And what I mean by that is, like, Biggie's actually a gangster. Biggie's actually waving the 4-4. Biggie's actually kicking down your door.
Yeah,
you know?
but he's also the one, you know, as we see, who gets killed. So, I mean, like, it's like, if you want that life, you can have it, but it's going to be short.
Right. But I think that's also part of it. Like, I think that's why Biggie in this song is also bringing up the fact that he's like that savage and like he acts like this and stuff, because it's like he's emphasizing and bringing home the point that like y'all are just mad at me because I am who I am. It's not that I'm putting on a persona or anything. It's I am literally this crazy. This is what I do, and if I talk about it, well, 90% of people believe me because I'm actually on the news about it, for example, right? So I landed it at a 4. Just something off with the sound of the song itself. It just sounded a little drony, but that was it. It wasn't a bad track.
All right. The next one is called "Fuck You Tonight." No, I mean literally, it's "Fuck You Tonight."
Deja vu, the blunt spark, finger fucking in the park, pissy off Bacardi Dark.
I'm not the biggest fan of R. Kelly. I've tried to avoid him as much as possible on this review. And for those who may want to criticize me, I have educated opinions as to why I don't like him in a Harvey Weinstein kind of way. They're not. Look, man, just Google the cases he paid out that you didn't hear about. There's like a decade of R. Kelly cases that you just didn't hear about, right? So
It's up to no good.
that's cool. I put that aside for this. And all things considered, this performance from R. Kelly is no "I Believe I Can Fly" and other such good things. This is it's okay. It's basically okay. That's what I felt about R. Kelly on this song. Like the whining and dining, "I'm fucking you tonight." It's fine. It's just regular chorus. Like, am I crazy here, or is it just not over the top excellent? Like, it's not that voice of should be able to get her to jail for his crimes on this particular song.
I agree. The song itself, Biggie does a great job.
Biggie's funny.
R. Kelly is okay, but I feel like it's a nice love Biggie and R. Kelly type track on how they're going to be fucking you tonight.
Well,
Yeah, I mean-
I just want to say, if I'm wrong and you guys love R. Kelly on this, I just don't have the hugest frame of reference for this R&B, singy styled stuff. But to counter that, it's not nice at all. It's like Biggie's basically saying, I know you like the nice stuff, but listen, tonight it's fried chicken and I'm banging you.
No,
But I think it's fine. If all the time, like what he's saying is like, it's obviously like, it's like a smooth talking R&B type track, but cruder.
It just doesn't sound like he's being
Well, like but
obsessive about it. Like,
but I
abusive,
feel like
let's do this now.
It's like whereas in a lot of songs he's describing how tonight we're gonna do all the fancy things. It's like Biggie's take on this particular song is, you know what? I don't really feel like doing any of the fancy things. So
This is
instead,
sort of like a drunk, sexy song, kind of like, you just get drunk and you have sex to this song.
oh no,
or
no! I
whatever.
picture like this is like one of his mistress girls that he's like calling
Yeah.
up for the night, and she's like, "Hey, Biggie, what are we gonna do tonight? You want to go out?"
I mean, he's
And
also aware that he's hanging out with gold diggers.
Right, but so he's responding that tonight, so no caviar, shark bar, strictly sex, that's sweaty, and leftover spaghetti.
But he feels like he
I know-
deserves it because he gave this girl, this whoever, like a
I
whole
agree.
bunch of nice things and kept whining and dining her, and now he's kind of like, all right, well, I only have like 15 minutes, so
Listen, I gotta go on stage.
Well, I
do
feel
this.
like it's a little bit like more than like it's not a time thing. I
No,
think
it's
it's more
not.
like Biggie don't want to leave the house. He just wants to. He wants to.
he just wants to be
listen
like,
to
at
some
home.
8 tracks and do
Bang
his
some
6 packs
lady.
while he hits that.
The song itself is just honest, and that's what I think. That's why I'm saying it's
He's
like
having a
this
cheap
nice
night.
kind of thing. He's just like, look, I just want to smash. I just want to eat.
Not just
I just
him. So you want to be with me? Say what? Puff Daddy. That's right.
Well-
The B.I.G. Let's go. Bring that ass to me, because Puffy has to get laid
Of course
too.
he's there. Of course he's there. He
If
gets
Biggie's
all of
getting
Biggie's
laid,
sloppy
Puffy
seconds.
needs to get laid. I don't know. I don't think there was much to this song.
Come
I
on,
wasn't.
dude.
I
Some say that X make the sex spectacular. Make me lick you from your neck to your back, then you shiver. Come on, that's actually like
it's good. It's good.
worth
It's just
talking about.
Worth talking about.
Because you were trying to say there wasn't more to talk about.
No. The song is good. I don't know. These songs to me are like.
What'd you give it?
I gave it a 4. I gave it a 4. Like, it's a good track.
You actually gave it a higher mark than me. Still, we need to talk about when he's with the girl and he takes her and he's like, next to your sister. Damn, I really miss the way she used to rub my back when I hit that. Way she used to giggle when your ass would wiggle, etc.
He's always seeing like close quarters.
So
with,
it's like
other
he's
people.
in bed bagging this one girl while her sister's rubbing his back and whatever. And apparently the girl in question was like, he used to think she's hot or whatever, and they had a good joke about it. All I'm saying is, Biggie had some fortunate situations in light of it all. But man, is this a weird song to listen to? Biggie's parts are excellent, but that beat and R. Kelly do not do it for me. I laughed during this song at some of the scenarios Biggie put out. It's fun. But then R. Kelly would come in, and I find him flat and just lacking the enthusiasm required, like, to make this a great song. So I gave it a 3.5 on 5.
Oh, okay. I mean, I thought it was nice and whatever. It was obviously like straight to it. He's still complimenting her. He tells her that she's beautiful and whatever, but he just kind of is like, all right, I'm going to sweet talk you for like 5 minutes and then we're going to get into bed here. So I think, it's a good song. It's not my favorite, but it's good. So I gave it a 4.25.
Yeah, I liked it less than them, but I just wanted to talk about it because there was some... Come on, Biggie was banging the one girl while the little sister's in the bed, like... Is that a reality for some of y'all? Like, is that stuff like that? Has that happened to you?
Well,
or you
yes.
know some people?
I mean...
Yeah? That's happened to you? You've been in the bed with sisters and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to hear more.
No.
Okay. So, I guess, did you give a grade or not?
I gave it a grade.
Let's check out Last Day.
Then you can see me flying in the Bentley cockpit, locks and B.I. Hold our clique out down.
So it does not include any of this.
We're going to include
Last
that
Days,
last little
So the
bit.
song is great. It's featuring the
Locks.
Locks, and
Yeah, it wasn't. It was cool. So Bonnie on our last lyrical breakdown was a little bit confused about who the Locks were.
I messed it up. I did say it, but I wasn't sure. I even said it. I was like,
it's okay.
as I was saying it, I was like, is
So
this right?
it
No, it's
doesn't
not.
beat the time that we thought the Locks was a completely different artist. So
No, that's not even the same. It was actually cuter what she did. It was totally anyway, different story.
My bad. Jadakiss.
So
Sorry. My
Jadakiss.
bad. I can't even say it.
Jadakiss does the hook on this song,
terrible.
right? So Jadakiss comes in and it's grimy and he does the hook, and I lived to my last days, and it's pretty fucking nice. This is that grimy, right? This is that proper. Like I just want more of that. And I think we're gonna have to do a Locks album, like that Money, Power, Respect one, or whatever the fucking album's called. Then Sleek Louch does verse 1. I just like, yo, what's beef to you? These with hoodies and bats that ain't compared to one small cat with gats. When we came here, we cut off all kind of circulation, breathing, eating, whole situation. When we do our shit for real. And he's got like that same kind of grimy likeness that like it fits well next to like the blunt shit that Biggie's been saying. But like you feel like the Locks boys, like they're just even more in their shadows, and they're even more in the darkness than Biggie even, and it's cool. Like he sounds good. Jadakiss is on verse 2, and his voice is the best of them all in my opinion. He's possibly my favorite person on this song. You already know what it's about. When I run up in your house, put the gun up in your mouth, get the money out the couch, hearing you out is senseless. Perhaps, for instance, if I give this faggot a French kiss, black gloves, no prints, dark tints, word on the street ain't heard from him since. You ain't, and he's just so fucking grimy. And like the French kiss is the faggot of French kiss, like a play on the kiss of death that's coming from the gun that he's got in his fucking mouth. But like you just get like the sense that like, whereas Biggie kind of has that grandiose, almost, let's call it the HBO effect that Puff Daddy is polished on it.
right.
These guys is like
Gruesome?
the really like the street hood video version of it. Like the guys filming it with like cameras on the corner,
Cell
kind of.
phone.
And like I'm not trying to say that the quality is off. I'm saying the griminess is so different. Like I really dug it. Styles P's on verse 3 comes in with the same kind of stuff. I like when he's like, before you think of keeping me down, heat me down. The flow like water got deep and you drown with no soulmate, roll with no dough. Even a small gun got a little black hole. And it's just lines like that. Like even the small gun, the tiniest gun, still got that little little whore that the bullet can fucking kill you from, or only a blind thug will fall in love with a whore.
I quoted that too.
And that's just like an interesting line, right? Because there is another line on the pimping song on this album where a certain featured pimp describes like how women under like in that position actually could be way smarter than you and pimp the fuck out the pimp and really flip it up. So I thought that was really cool. Finally, Biggie comes in, and he just has this like flow in his bigginess to him, like, who the fuck wanna squeeze my desert ease, make MCs freeze, you know, you waking up in cold sweat, they just dreams. And then he kind of like goes through it, just, you know, rolls on. And in the sense, you got all these people kind of pulling out how hard they are. Do you really want to test them? Because they will show you what the fuck death is. Right. I had this a 4.5 on 5. It's Grammy. It's hard. It is really got, like, these are guys that mesh really fucking well with Biggie. Anyway.
Nice. I got the same feel. I felt like they stand up next to Biggie just as good. But I agree with you more. Like they do sound like they're more in the shadows, the more in the depths of the darkness than Biggie is. He has that polished feel to him. You can kind of just like. I felt like listening to the Locks, the artists from the Locks verses. It's like you can't really get this image of them yet. Like you're still trying to build in. You see this, but then when you got Biggie's verse, you're like, all right, I can picture all this. I like that line. Only a blind thug falls in love with a whore. I think that's like kind of like a way of life for these guys. Like you shouldn't fall in love with whores like that. You should be the one who's in power and not let them kind of play you or trick you around. I also like on the chorus when Jadakiss goes, "Can I live till my last day?" And it's just, it's interesting to think that like these guys know that they have a due date in a sense. Like they're giving themselves X amount of years in the future as a due date, but they've already set that they want to do certain things, knowing that like, you know, you can die at any moment, and today that could be my last day, right? Mm-hmm. To have that mentality, like, am I gonna be able to live till that? Like, am I gonna be able to live to see myself on stage? Am I gonna be able to live to see myself have like such and such, whatever it is? Mm-hmm. It's a cool concept. I found it a really cool concept to be asking for if they can live for that, especially with what I would assume their environment's like and where they're coming from. I gave it a 4.5 on 5. I think it's actually a really great song. I like the different artists. I like the different voices on it. I like how they just kind of all give off their own little vibe with it as well. It was great.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I just kind of like broke down like basically like, you know, like the gist of like what they said. So I've got like Sheik. Sheik was basically saying like they do real music, you know, overall. Jadakiss. I'm just gonna say it wrong every time.
Jada.
Like Jada Pinkett.
There we go. Jadakiss. So he's obviously like more criminal and like up to like a little bit more, you know, trouble. And he can't be stopped. He's out of control. And then Styles P comes on, and he's kind of like looking back and like kind of looking back at like a shitty situation, kind of with knowledge, you know, that he's learned and like regret a little bit, I think. And then we have Biggie coming in, and then, you know, he's kind of talking about how he's kind of still dealing with like grief and like regret again, and like maybe like mistakes that he's made, and like, you know, he's been violent and maybe he kind of regrets that and he's dealing with that. And he's, you know, obviously you don't just kill someone and not have that affect you in any way. So obviously like this is what Biggie's dealing with. Like he's kind of, you know, he's kind of just dealing with like all of that and like the retaliations and what could and did happen. So you die one way or the other. Basically, that's it. I thought it was good. I liked the beat of this one. I gave it a 4.25.
Are we done that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love the Dough and Jay-Z.
And Angela Winbush.
All right, Bonnie, how you feel about this one?
Well, basically, they're both like flossing and bragging about all the wealth and like riches that they have. I believe Kendrick would say, be humble. In this case, like there's a lot going on. It's obviously Jay-Z. And like I said, they were both kind of like around the same time, playing like that pimp part kind of. We're playing dice at the start, like hoping for like the wins. And they're like, whether or not they're going to win no matter what, right? Basically, like they're just rich and that's it. So Jay-Z is awesome on this song. Angela Winbush is really fierce. They're just living the life. It sounds very like 90s. It definitely has like that kind of dated sound to it. And they both have, they've kind of played the charts like the Beatles. They're comparing like their success to the Beatles. I thought that was really cute. It's a fun song. It's two great rappers. It really can't be too bad. So I gave it a 4.5. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
And you, Christopher?
Bonnie covered it. They're flossing. They're explaining how they're living life, living lavish. They love the money and they love what they do. I like one of the lines when Jay-Z goes play Monopoly with real cash. I like that idea that
It's a game almost.
he's looking at it like as a game.
It's actually you can't just say that line. It's out of context, right?
Oh.
It's we push the hottest V's, peel fast through the city, play Monopoly with real cash, and you get the sense that like they're going through the city and buying up properties.
Right.
Like they're literally going through New York on a Monopoly board. Because
Right.
they're that fucking rich, which, I mean, yeah, I guess you could see that in a sense, but just the line play Monopoly with real
for
cash
sure.
could also mean that they have a game board set up and they're using real money.
And they're getting
to,
all these
like,
properties. They're acquiring a lot of wealth.
You know, like.
Right.
Anyway, now we've discussed that a lot.
I also like another line. People place yourselves in the shoes of two felons and tell me you won't ball every chance you get and any chance you hit. We live for the moment. Makes sense, don't it? Now make dollars. I like that play on word with make sense and dollars. That was cool. But also
Nice.
like just the thought of like, yeah, if I were to put my mind in put myself in the mind of a felon, if I had a chance to have a good opportunity, I'd take it. Like living. I wouldn't know what it feels like to live like that, but from what I hear and from what we've noticed from so far, yeah, they seem to think that they would take opportunities to make the money they can, and
Especially if you just consider for that line, like right before it, it's like, you cats is home screaming, the fight is on.
right,
I'm in the 1,500 seats watching Tyson. Same night, same fight, but one of us cats ain't playing right. I'll let you tell it.
right.
And then it goes on like that. So he's already established from this position. So in a sense, we're the ones screaming at home about how the fight's on, and
Yeah.
Jay-Z's over there. So just to kind
But
of
that was a Mike
validate.
Tyson reference? I feel like maybe that was like when he bit the ear off the guy or whatever. Because I remember being a kid when that happened. I feel like this is around the same time.
I feel like it was more just generally speaking, yo, I'm actually at the game watching Tyson. Like, he could have said Kobe today playing basketball, and it would have been like, or maybe Kobe. Does he still play?
See? Nobody would know.
LeBron, Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry still. He's a big name, I know. Sorry, guys. Basketball and sports, not my thing. I didn't get this belly being athletic. Yeah, anyway, go on.
Well, all in all, it's a great song. I like how Jay-Z presents his verse. I like how Biggie presents his. They have this sense of friendship. They're great pals, you could also say, right?
Yeah.
But the energy that they both have with each other it meshes very nicely. There's no clash. One doesn't seem better than the
They
other.
sound like good business partners almost.
That
you know?
too.
Like,
That too. Like it feels like for them, they're kind of talking with each other about how much money they love having and how much they love chasing
Their
it
investments,
and what
things
they
that
can
they've
go for
done.
next. I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
Yeah, I feel very similarly. Like, you have the kind of more posh side of it represented by Jay-Z and Biggie, whereas Jay-Z's kind of pointing out how easy it is that they're on the Tyson fight and you're at home. Biggie's remembering stuff like me, I'm critically acclaimed, slug past your brain, reminisce on dames whose coochie used to stink. So, like, back in the day, the dames he was banging maybe had a little bit more of a fishier scent going on. And now that he's wealthier, the girls that he's banging no longer have stinky coochies.
Well,
So,
it's also like I feel like another way of saying like he's upgraded.
yes, that's literally what he's saying. Because when he was poor, he had stinky cooch.
I
And
just-
now that he's rich,
I don't know.
he's
I
upgraded.
I feel like just the concept of that is like.
I mean,
there's
it's
other ways,
it's
but-
most definitely the literal concept. Yes, sir.
Yes.
See, from little stinky coochie with
I'm
money,
being-
he has pretty coochie that smells like roses. Because I know you like to think your shit don't stink, but I don't know
My
where I was
shit don't stink.
Anyway,
That
smell
was
like
out-
roses
it was
all the
I
Outcast.
just was going somewhere else. Don't forget the vinyl. Take girls, break spinals. Biggie be Richie like Lionel. Shit, I really like that line a lot because he's rich, but he's also like Lionel Richie. Okay, 4.5 on 5. It's a really fucking
Oh,
good
cool.
song.
Y'all gave it the same grade.
That's right. So what's beef? Beef is when you.
Disappear by tomorrow. All your guns is borrowed. I don't feel sorrow. Actually.
Ha 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 ha. It's so funny. I'm sorry. Whenever anyone wants to say ha 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 ha, it's the best way to start a rap song when you're Biggie and you're just this demonic like horror laugh that is just so like he's a maniac and he's ironically laughing. It is awesome. I've been ha ha haing all day.
Well, if we're going to talk about how much of a maniac he is, one of the lines I liked was, here lies your demise, close your eyes. Think good thoughts, die while your skin starts to glisten, pale blue hands get cold. Your soul's risen. It's bad because I just begun. What makes shit real bad? I was having fun.
Ha 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 ha.
God, I butchered that. But seriously, the fact that like he's openly admitting that he's having fun doing these atrocious acts and
And
being
he's
this
there
violent,
with like this corpse, and he's just kind of like, yeah, he
Right?
like it's just not important to him.
it gives you this, but it plays well with the line that he goes, raps Alfred Hitchcock.
Mm-hmm.
With
It's my calico being cocked. This rap Alfred Hitchcock. Drop top notch player hating gon' stop this instant. Rappers too persistent. Quit to spit Biggie name on shit. Make my name taste like ass when you speak it. See me in the street. Your jewelry, you can keep it. That be our little secret. That fucking is a cool line. That's Biggie saying there that, you know, you're talking on his shit. You know, you're putting his name there. You're making his name taste like ass. I've never heard that really before, but it's kind of, it makes a lot of sense.
bad taste
It's-
in your mouth,
It's
right?
an expression that we should be using more, in my opinion. But really, it's the idea that Biggie, when he looks at you, he knows he can rob you. He knows he can fuck up your entire day. But
also
he
another poop
chooses
bar.
not to, which is really like a power move, right? He just chooses not to. And he just knows that you look at him, he looks at you, and in that second, you know, Biggie let you go. And that's your little secret between you and Biggie, because you ain't going to tell your people because it's bad news bears.
But-
and Biggie gets off on that kind of power and shit. So it's just, I really
It also
dug that.
plays into the concept of what's beef, right? When
Well, beef is when you need two gats to go to sleep. Okay, go on.
Well, I was just saying, like, when you think of beef, you think of problems and causing an automatic, like, start, like, scrapping right now, right? But
I think of
Biggie's-
hamburgers.
I actually think of vendettas and long drawn out blood feuds and stuff like that.
Right. But in a sense of how I feel Biggie's explaining it is that he's kind of separating what people think beef is, like minor problems, to what real issues are.
I think he's responding to people trying to beef with him. And he's trying to
Okay.
say, if you want beef, well, what's beef? Beef is when your mom ain't safe up in the streets. Beef is when I see you guaranteed to be in ICU one more time. Now, I think a little bit of context is fair. This is in the middle of the East Coast, West Coast nonsense. We're talking 96, 97. We're talking all sorts of hate going around. Like, Hit 'em Up has come out, right? Like, that's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. You know, like, all that shit's gone down. And you just have Biggie in a state where I feel like he wants to respond. So he's saying, you want beef? What's beef? And he asks it. But instead of like name dropping or going in on people, he's taking the approach of, let me just show you what you're actually fucking with. And he plays out these twisted, dark fantasies because if you create the legend of scariness enough, maybe it'll be like, you know, how can you really fuck with that shit? You know, he's that fucking crazy and whatnot, you know?
Well, for me, I actually really, really like the song. I don't know. I think I could actually say I fell in love with it. I gave it a 5 on 5.
Whoa. I think that was like your first one, no?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was kind of like Italian sounding, like sounded like Italian mafia, like the mob, like
Very
that kind
much
of like
so.
that kind of music at the beginning, especially. I mean, I liked the Alfred Hitchcock reference, that he was a fat guy and a good storyteller, just like Biggie. You know, I've gone through like the Hitchcock phase and I've watched a whole bunch of his movies, so it's kind of interesting. Like, and it also plays in on like the creepy tone that he's putting like on this song, basically. So he can have you killed with one phone call, and like one shot you'll be dead. He doesn't have time for beef. And basically he just kills all of his enemies, and he doesn't have beef because everyone's dead. And he's got quite a peaceful life, and like, you know, he's happy and peaceful because he doesn't have any haters, because there's no beef, because he's killed them all.
Sadist.
And I guess you can't live that life forever, obviously, that we are well aware of, as Biggie played that example. And like, you know, he talks about even your mom isn't safe, which you talked about. It's a good story. You know, he's tough. He's just letting you know, like, don't even bother. Like, he's gonna destroy you if you do. Like, do you really want to like mess with him? Is basically kind of what he's getting at. So I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's grimy. It's got this like slower pace to it. Like, Biggie's cool, calm, and collected on this one in a way that we might not have seen so eloquently done, right? And I really like that side of him. I also like that he says booyaka, which is a cool word to say. As I understand it, it kind of sounds like a gunshot, but I never thought of that before. Genius annotations and all. But really, I enjoyed this song a lot, like a lot. This is one of my favorite songs on this project. It's really fucking cool. It's a 5 on 5. Like, you feel like a horror movie is playing out. It's cool. And I guess we should take a little break because there's a B.I.G. interlude.
Yes.
Money SL.
So I listened to PSK, What Does It Mean by Schoolie D for the first time in my life while reviewing this, because it's basically the same kind of beat and the same kind of rhythm. And Biggie's paying his homage. If I understand, it's one of the very first gangster rap songs ever. So Biggie's showing love to the classic era of hip-hop. Nice. And I mean, the Schoolie D version is like a 6-minute version of what Biggie does here for like 45 seconds.
Nice.
And he just lays out who he is. B.I.G. is making this cream, so he's making money.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Crash rules everything around me.
Of course.
Bitches always say, what the hell does that mean? And he's like, it's a good point. What does the B.I.G. mean? So big is for the bitches who can't understand how one fly became a man. So B means he's big, and girls can't understand how he became a fly man. I don't understand. I is for the way it goes in and out. So now he's describing how the I is for his penis intercoursing with the ladies' vaginas. And one by one I knocks him out because he goes in for all the ladies and he beats up the pussy. G is for the way the game goes in the gutter. Other MCs, man, they ain't saying nothing. Rocking on the break it down, meet the bitch, get the pussy, get the math, I'm gone. So other rappers suck, and he keeps going at this mathematically, systematically, getting the girls, pumping it in, and doing the big formula day in, day out, and that's what it is. So he took that whole situation, and I'm not going to lie, I gave it a 4.5 on 5. I thought it was pretty fun, a really cool little break because it's silly in the way it sounds compared to like some of the other serious, gloomy things. It's goofy, but it still is Biggie, and I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this is just Biggie proving to us that he can be an MC if need be. He's capable, and you know he's good at everything. He's just kind of proving again that this is what else he can do. So it was fun and cute, but gangster, and that was pretty much it. So I gave it a 4.25.
I gave it a 4 on 5. It was a nice little Biggie freestyle. He's consistent, and he's keeping up with what he's always keeps giving us. He's very straight to the point, breaks down what the B.I.G. means. It was good.
All right, shall we move on to...
More money, more problems.
I'm coming.
Maybe don't do
I'm
that.
cooler. School me to the game. Now I know my duty. Stay humble, stay low, blow like who.
Bonnie, I need you to describe the music video. I just need you to talk about the music video, please.
It's just a lot of real bad dancing. Like,
And golf.
They're rich enough
Golf.
that they could have acquired a choreographer
Golf
to
is
teach them how to do some cool moves, not the ones that they're doing. Mase and Puff Daddy just look like funny guys. Like, they're just like doing the best that they can. They're like, yeah, look at the camera and do your best cool moves, and like it's not good.
Okay, look, this is how you
And
see
there's
it.
like a wind machine, and then there's weird rooms, and then they're in like
Flowy outfits.
They're in like basically like.
So my first thoughts is like, there's no way Big would have been okay with this, like in the final version. Maybe I would have been. Maybe Puff's in charge. I don't know, but like
Some of it was cool, whatever. Like I get it, but
you look at their faces, and this is what really sells the video. So there's two sides to this. So first, there's the golf part, which Mase was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And Puffy's like, "I just want it, guys. Invite me to the PGA, please." That's what I felt from that beginning. I don't know if he made it to the PGA. Maybe he did. I suppose I could Google that really easily. But then we move on to the actual video where they're in their very colorful outfits. That part's fine. The 90s was an awesome time for fashion, and I don't want to shit on any part of it.
it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a fun video.
It's just like when you
if
think
you had
about
taken away if they've done those videos where they take away everything and you just hear like the breathing and like the squeaking, like I feel like this would be like hilarious to listen to, without the song.
But you got to understand, Mase is saying, now who's hot, who's not. Tell me who rock, who sells out the stores. You tell me who flopped, who copped the blue drops, who jewels got rock. You know, he sounds kind of fly. He's coming in hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're watching this video as Mase has this look on his face like, guys, don't judge me. The paycheck is really good. I know I'm aware of what this looks like, guys, right? Mase is having a good time.
He's like, okay,
because
do
he's
what I
laughing
gotta
at
do.
Puff. And he recognizes how stupid this all
But Puff
feels.
loves it. He's like, look at how
Puff
cool I am.
is so sincere. He's so sincere
He's like,
about
check
it.
out this mad
He's
move.
like, and he's got like these like mad cool faces, shades on. Like Puff in his mind was defining greatness. Now, technically that's true because in 2018 we're sitting here talking about this shit like this.
Yeah.
So he
Yep.
achieved. And like, say what I want about Puff, he's approaching a Billy and like he's done it all per se. But holy fuck, is this the goofiest shit I've ever fucking seen. Especially in the back with that one scene when Biggie's waving the Rolexes and they're both like,
look at our, we've got watches on. And you're like, okay, guys, all right.
but with like the
Okay.
flashy jumpsuits, and it's just the funniest music video. Again,
It's a bit
if
dated,
you have
but it suits. It's literally like there were so many videos that were similar to this at the time, or maybe because of this video. I don't know who came first. But like right away, like Missy Elliott comes to mind with her like poofy clothes and like the
Yeah.
same sort of like outfits and like close-up shots and stuff like that. Like it's
know.
similar to it, but it just looks ridiculous a little bit.
It's just-
But anyways, let's get into the song.
do you
Let's
remember
get into
Harlem World?
let's-
I remember Harlem World. That's the
get in-
same Mace.
We've got a long album to get through.
I wasn't
Let's
there
get
for
into the
Harlem
song
World.
and not about the video.
MC Ren is a songwriter on this one. I thought that was cool. So since MC Ren is a songwriter, and it may be they interpolated him or something, but I wanted to just shout that out because of the credit. Mase does his thing in that first verse. He's got Dolce on everything down to the tube sock. Like that means he's even wearing Dolce Gabbana tube socks.
And maybe a tube socks on his penis.
Maybe. What?
A
Okay.
Dolce Gabbana condom.
I mean, yeah, I guess. The same old pimp, Mase, ain't nothing changed but his limp. Okay. Then Diddy, well, Puff Daddy's Puff Daddy. I'm never really a huge fan of his rapping, but he did say 10 years from now, we'll still be on top. Yo, I thought I told you that we won't stop. He was right.
Yep.
Like, he's still kind of there. And, well, I can say what I want about him, and he's still on top, and he won't stop. And he might... What can I say, man? He brought us MGK. It's hard to hate him right now, you know?
He was banging J-Lo, for goodness sakes.
That's true. Me lose my touch, never that. If I did, ain't got no problem to get the gat. Where the true players at, throw your rollies in the sky. That's the line where in the music video, Puffy and Mase do that thing. While I give your girl the eye, player, please, lyrically, see B.I.G, flashing, jig. Anyway, it's just fun, Biggie lines. It wasn't like... Here's the thing about this song. I don't think this song hits because of anything other than the fucking what they sampled. Was it Diana Summers?
Diana Ross.
Diana Ross.
My goodness.
I'm
coming out.
coming. You know, and everybody liked that song, right? So you gotta.
It was a great song.
So you got to imagine how many people like moms and folk who.
But the thing is that he took already a great song that everybody loves, everybody knows, and he made it even greater by adding like his own stuff and like, well, maybe like a different greatness, but they still added it, and it's like epic and it's fun, and it's like one of the greatest songs in hip hop like ever.
But like my point is, I suppose that he took like, and this is I guess a strategy for like crossover, but he managed to capture the attention of the most innocent people like ever with this song. Like, you gotta imagine how many kids were allowed to listen to Playa Mase talk about being the same old pimp just because nobody really bothered to listen, because for the most part I bet a lot of people never even listened to the verses. They sound smooth as fucking fuck over it. Even Puff, he sounds proper on this one. I'm gonna give it to him.
Basically,
he sounds good.
The entire song kind of sounds like Puff went to Biggie and was like, yo, we need to step up our game. We need to get to the next level. Your savagery, your gangsterism is awesome.
He's like, we need some shit for the radio.
Thank you. And that's instantly what I thought of when I heard this song. The minute it came on, I was like,
money grab.
Somebody needed a radio jam. I like it. It's not bad. It's not the greatest song, but it's not bad.
No, it is actually one of the greatest songs.
I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 4.
Honestly, it's. I don't like Mase or Puffy's verse as much as I like Biggie's verse, and even compared to a lot of the other Biggie verses on this album, like Juicy's a good fluff song, Hypnotize is a good fluff song. This is really fluffy.
This is
This
radio.
is like a summer song. Like, it just makes me think of like...
it's basically a really hot beat with some great flows over it, and honestly, I wonder, and no,
you know what it is?
Please don't hate me for saying this, but I wonder if, like, for the most part, a lot of people could have been on this, and had they kept that chorus exactly the same, because that's really what it is. It's like, the more money we come across, the more problems we see. Like, everybody fucking loved that part, and it's a way to interpolate the Diana Ross song. And I think that's
she
really...
doesn't say that.
No, but that's what is in this song.
Yes.
Well, that's how this chorus goes, and it's fucking a sick hook. And I wonder if, because I mean, even Puff Daddy kind of sounded good for a minute on this. I think this is just a stellar sound to party to, but it's so vapid otherwise.
I think that the context of the song is super simple. There wasn't like a deeper message behind it. It was literally more money, more problems. The more we make, the more shit we have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really don't feel the more problems part of this on this song, you know?
Right. But I think, like, for it being a radio jam, for taking it to the next step, for, like, even you want to go as far as, like, relatability for everybody, because I don't think everybody can relate to a lot of the savage context that Biggie might bring along. Okay. But for, like,
who can relate to the lyrics of I'm richer than you?
Hold on. What I'm saying is like, you were also mentioning earlier, like, people remember the chorus, right? And people would sing along to that, and nobody would really listen to the verses. So if we keep that
can be said about most pop music, sir.
Right. If we keep that in context, it's really like everybody can relate to. Yeah, the more money we make, the more problems we have.
Again, that's what I was saying is.
But not everybody can relate to that, because
I don't think most people can. Like, that's a fantasy.
Yeah.
That's like they're selling you the fantasy now. This isn't a song about relatability. This is an escape song. This is you're out and you're fucking drunk and you're partying and you're getting away from your life and for a minute and you're singing along.
Look, I get that feel, but I don't look at it that way.
Who relates to how much? Nobody in this room has enough money to be able to relate to that song, okay? Probably most people watching us, most people don't have that. It's not a common thing in life that, oh, I am so fucking rich, I have problems.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even any money, like, it causes you to have some problems. But I think that they're obviously talking about big money.
Right.
Like
I'm saying, like, I don't think this was made written for you to relate to. It was more written for you to escape to. Okay. Right, which is totally fine, and that's what, like, party songs are for, which is really cool. I don't know. I do think that most people didn't really listen to the verses of this. I'm talking about, like, most of the pop side of it. I'm certain that the really big, like, the people watching this were listening to the verses for the most part. You know.
Well, anyways. I thought, like, Mase was epic on this song. I really liked him. He's balling. He's making money. He's living luxuriously. Like they're gonna keep going, and they want to be big. Like they don't want to be bigger than big. You know, and they put like money into their empire, and I think like that's what it is. Like the more money you get, the more like you just want to keep spending it, and like you know you're gonna keep acquiring things, and it's a lot of problems. Probably a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of paperwork, and whatever else. So you know he's talking about Biggie gets all like the ladies, you know, and he carries a gun for protection, you know, because he's big and he's famous, and maybe that's like the problem is that he's got all this money and he's still being threatened to be killed and killed. So like so much money and success, and there are problems, you know, like as the chorus suggests. The beat makes it like hella fun and catchy. I mean, I thought this song was epic. I mean, it is like a great song. I gave it a 5 on 5.
I don't know about that one. I mean, you're allowed to love it because.
I also love Diana Ross and Motown, and there's no stopping it.
So folk will bleed.
They pussy, the 7 digits push me, fucking real. Here's the deal, I got 100.
This song is fucking like really interesting. Like as far as the storytelling side of Biggie goes, like this might be one of the coolest ones just in rap I've heard, right? So in verse 1, you have Biggie outlining a robbery that's going to go down of some sorts or some drug transaction. So in room 112, there's something happening. Drugs are about to be sold. You got lines like, please make your killings clean, slugs up in between. The eyes like true lies, kill them and flee the scene. Just bring back the coke or the cream or else your life is on the shelf. We mean this, Frank. Them cats we fucking with, put bombs in your mom's gas tank. So you get the sense that, you know, like Frank, if I'm not mistaken, is Biggie's alter ego, this like criminal mafioso type he's created for himself. So he has the situation where he's got to go up into the room and he has 2 choices: get the drugs, get the guns. I'll get the money. I don't care how this goes down. You better pull off your mission of what you got to go off in to show the severity of what's going on. It's the type of people that'll fucking take out your mom and shit if you have anything bad that happens. And he really just kind of like shows his mentality with lines like, let's get this money, baby. They shady, we get shady. And yeah, so that's like pretty much like it's just like it's fucking deep, right? Like you really get the sense of how like dark the situation is getting. Like I get $100, 14.5 a piece, enough to cop a 6 by the house on the beach, supply the peeps with whatever. Think about it. Damn, that's near 1.5. I killed them all. I'll be set for life. And he realizes that like all these different people are getting this much per share, and he's trying to calculate how much money. And then he realizes, wait a second, if I just like kill all my business partners, I get all the money. And then he promises not to do it, but his fingers were crossed. Verse 2 introduces us to Ron. Ron was a guy who went to jail and shit, weeded, took it to trial, beat it. Now I feel undefeated, he mean it, nothing to lose, tattooed around his gun wounds, everything to gain embedded in his brain. And me, I feel the same for this money, you dying, etc. So we get the idea that is his homeboy. They scheme together, they lay it down, and then in the 3rd verse, they go through the whole scene in the hotel, big old shootout, all sorts of shit happens up in the room. Then they head down and they're trying to escape as a Range Rover pulls up, right? And the guys in the Range Rover rush in right past Ron and Biggie. And then they look out and they watch as that Range Rover got towed. And he calls them stupid motherfuckers and kind of laughs. And like this grand tale just kind of ends with like the guys trying to kill him having their car towed. And in that moment, it was like the true brilliance of Biggie's storytelling. He's such a fucking joker. Like he tells this whole fucking tale and then just took a poop on the story. You know, like it's really fucking funny.
I wanted to.
That's life.
Anyway, this beat's fantastic. It fits well, like this creepy, cool tale. Like it feels like a self-imposed movie. His voice is perfect. You got the right kind of theatrics that you've really come to expect from the production on this album. 5 on 5. Excellent song.
Nice.
Going back to one of the lines you said about like giving this grim, eerie feel to the song. Let's get this money, baby. That shady, we get shady. Dress up like ladies and burn them with the dirty 380s.
Yeah.
Like the fact that instantly I got a memory of Guilty Conscience from Eminem and Dr. Dre. Mm-hmm. Just also the music video as well. But I'm that was just a tangent. I like that line because it's also showing like what step up you have to do to get the mission completed. Like there's certain things like dressing up as a woman so that you don't get caught or whatever it is something you might have to do in this type of circumstance. So kind of showing you the different levels of the dangers. Another line I liked was when Biggie goes, if it's trouble, let me know. I'll be on my way. Please, I got kids to feed. I done see you make bleed. Nightmares this bitch don't need. And you can really tell that like Biggie's not, for what I get, Biggie's not in it to just kill. He's in it for the money. He's in it for the family. He's in it so that he can provide and get whatever the quick cash is coming to him. Right. So that was a line that I kind of felt was like, damn, like you're really willing to go and like be quote unquote a hitman, or you know take on these extreme conditions to feed your family. Like that's providing. And then yeah, like the last line, just finding out like the funny thing is like the idiots they double parked behind a fire hydrant. It's like he's got this way of getting you super involved into the song, and then oh well, this is it. This is what it is, and it's kind of cute, I guess. Not really the funniest thing, but it's kind of cute.
It's fucking hilarious.
I don't know, man. Like
it's the literal like. It's
I would
ironic...
for me if somebody's telling me like a legitimate story, like a serious story like that.
Not to be rude, folk. We're just in an apartment, and he started raising his volume, and it's gonna peak. So some of you guys think I'm an asshole. I'm literally telling him not to raise his voice for the mic. Go ahead, Chris.
I just think that like it's okay. I don't even know where I just lost my train of thought.
You were saying that the ending is not funny because
the ending's not funny, right? The ending's not funny to me because I don't know if somebody was telling me a story like that and then just like kind of threw that in there without like finishing up whatever happened. I don't know. I wouldn't.
No, but that is what happened. They escape. Because the fucking guy's van got towed.
I
because
get that,
dumb.
but I don't think that was funny. I thought it cute. I was like, well, they
How
messed
is it
up,
cute?
but I didn't really find it like, ha ha ha, ha ha. That's so jokes.
What'd you give it?
4.5 on 5. I like the storytelling behind it.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's really not much else for me to say too much. This is just basically directions to follow some gangster shit. Really, clear directions, do whatever you have to do to trick, these guys from whatever. And Biggie says he's not scared of any man, and this is clearly about a murder that takes place, which we, come to see. And, the joke about, like, the guy being double parked and, like, how he's just kind of, like, Biggie just laughs at it. And he's just like, oh, these idiots, it just gives him more power, I guess, to him, after having like done all this, like that he's able to like joke it like and laugh and be like, they couldn't even do this properly, like, so I mean, it's a good story. I wasn't sure how I felt about the beat. I wasn't like the biggest fan of it, but so I gave it a 4 on 5.
All right. Next one is the end of the first disc of this double disc project, and it's I Got a Story.
She came twice, I came last, roll the grass. She giggled, saying I'm smoking on.
This guy is Biggie's version of R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet, is a good way to put it for the younger folk out there. Apparently it's about Anthony Mason, who is a New York Knicks player from back then. This is what folk have said through the grapevine of, I think Jadakiss and a few others have alluded it's him. Basically, Biggie meets a girl, goes back to the crib. It's a New York Knicks player. He fucks the girl. Then the guy comes home. She distracts him, and Biggie says, fuck it, pulls a gun on him, robs him, goes home, laughs about it. And then, here's the fucking kicker in this song.
He explains it?
He explains it. Like, literally everything he just rapped, he tells you again in about 2/3 of the amount of time it took him to rap it, and he's just kind of telling it to you like a story. But
I feel like it's part of the cinematic to it. It's like, imagine being in that position, living that entire scenario, and then once you finally get out, it's like, yo, who's the first boy you're gonna call? Like, yo, bro, I just went through this. Like, oh my god. So you kind of get that whole feeling of how Biggie, or the character he's playing, felt like going through the scenario, getting the description.
Apparently this is actually a true story. It is Biggie. This did happen, allegedly.
Oh, okay. Well, if this did happen, I want to just bring it back to how he got out, and it wasn't just rob the man. from what I understand, the girl agreed to basically being gagged and playing as like a hostage.
He had a gun.
Yeah, but I didn't get the sense that he was like, fuck it, like, I'm going to take your woman like that. I feel like he spoke with her about it and was like, here's how we're going to play this off because you're cheating on your husband.
No, he said, don't make me have to kill him.
Yes. So that's why he asked to stall for time.
So
I
that
feel like
means if you're the wife and somebody goes, don't make me have to kill him, you're going to play along, right? So you're being coerced in that moment? I mean,
yes, I see that. I just, I don't know. I kind of felt like he kind of drew up this plan with her and was like, this is how we're getting out of it.
I mean, they're both looking for an escape plan to get out the situation, but I don't think she agreed to be robbed. You know, like he just kind of did what he wanted in that moment and told her how it was going down. And then, like, you know, like.
He's a quick thinker.
Like, I'm not saying that this girl didn't play along. I'm saying this girl had no choice but to play along because she's got guy in the gun in the room and boyfriend in the extra. Like, I mean, this isn't like her and Biggie were in on this from the beginning. And, I mean, yeah, they were banging. That's what cheating is.
Right.
Anyway, so then he tells the story in full as if he was telling it to his boys, as Chris described. Like, that's literally the song. It's anyway. It was.
There's just no way I couldn't have not understood the song in this case.
Like, it's pretty literal. It's like...
It's a 4 on 5.
I give it a 4.5. Like, the audacity of this is a very gangsta move of Biggie, and I give him the credit. Considering it's been said as true and such, like, well, that's bold, okay? I admire, and it's not like it's a bad song. I'd give it a 5, except for the part where he just goes home and retells the story. That kind of annoyed me, but I can deal with that. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I took away basically the same thing as you. So for me, like, I took away that, you know, he loved this particular girl. This whole song is like kind of like a sexual song. It sounds like she's a real gold digger. If she's like going out with all these like rich guys, and she's cheating and like on Biggie, I'm not sure if she's like cheating on him or cheating with him.
She's cheating with him, and she's banging the New York Knicks guy.
But I think that he's just kind of, I don't know. I took away that she was cheating on him. So
cheating on Biggie? No, like,
yeah, that's what I took away from this. Like, but hold on,
she get dick from a player off the New York Knicks. He's ridiculous. The shit was plush. Like, he's talking about the apartment of the New York Knicks guy. You know?
And I think that's kind of like he knows that she's sleeping with him. And I think that he's catching it. Anyways, that's what I took away from this. You know, this could be my Chris moment. Who knows? But anyways, so yeah, and then so like he'll kill him if he must. And then like he takes her shit after like tying her up. Points a gun at him, like kind of like a hostage ransom situation, as we have discussed. Biggie screws them both over, like I think by like taking advantage and like taking stuff from him. And he thinks he's smart, and I think he's just going to like his pal after having done this like stupid kind of crazy stuff. And he's just kind of like bragging about what he's done and like what he's laughing, and he's kind of just laughing at it and just thinks it's funny. So yeah, I thought it was 4.25. I thought it was interesting and funny, and maybe my interpretation was wrong.
Yeah, because he met the girl at the club, and then he goes back to the club and goes back to her crib to smash, and then the crib is the New York Knicks crib, and then the guy gets home.
But he does something to take advantage of that situation, right? He robs
their house, right? Like, so that's it. But like, it's definitely that Biggie the player goes and fucks the New York Knicks' girlfriend guy and fucks around with that. Anyway.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, the next one is Notorious Thugs.
Fellas down to the most of dude. Who's the killer? Me or you?
This song is amazing.
Yep.
I've been listening to this song for many a year.
It's boning Biggie.
I know I can do Biggie's verse mostly perfect right now if I had to. I can do bits and pieces of the other verses. I mean, it's just. It's one hell of a long intro.
It's a long song. It's 6 minutes and 7
it.
seconds.
Yeah.
It's the longest one I think that's on this album.
Once Biggie kicks in, It's fucking cool. Now, it's really
Once
amazing.
everybody kicks in, it's cool.
Is the story behind this? They go to the studio. I think Lazy's like pass out fucking drunk.
Classic
They have to
Lazy.
like wake him up to like get in the booth or whatever. And then Biggie just sat there till like fucking 4 a.m, saying nothing, doing his thing, where he composes his rhymes in his heads and he doesn't like. You don't hear anything. He doesn't move, say nothing till he's ready. Now, Biggie wanted to make sure that his flow matched the Bone Thugs flow. So he waited and waited and waited, and everyone was kind of confused and unsure. And then Biggie got up in the booth and spit that flow, and, well, it was armed and dangerous, and there weren't too many who could bang with him, even though there was a little bit of, anyway, I can go on for days. It's fucking really good, man. But that beat, when you hear
This
those
is a party
piano
song.
loops,
This is an absolute party song.
when you hear that piano loop, though,
It sounds a lot more like Bone Thugs and Harmony. It sounds like one of their songs.
but it's just one of the best beats I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's great.
Like it's a 6 on 5. Like I mean, it's a 5 on 5. Like it's just so fucking good.
Yeah.
I mean, Big E's flow is like fantastic, but like it's lines like up in restaurants with mandolins and violins. Like I didn't know what a mandolin was until Big E told me. Yeah. We just sit here trying to win, trying not to sin.
It's a
Half
mandolin.
weed
It's
and
like what
lots of gin.
the rooster plays in the Disney version of Robin Hood.
Nice. So much smoke need oxygen. And these are good lines. Anyway, there's just so many great like fucking like lyrics. Biggie's kind of like painting a little bit of a picture of his life as a notorious thug, which is a cute name because Notorious B.I.G. and Bone Thugs, get it? And so he's kind of painting out like this glamorous situation, like, because me and my dogs love to bug shit, fuck the luck shit, strictly aim, no aspirations to quit the game, spit your game, talk your shit, grab your gat, call your click, squeeze your clip, hit the right one, pass that weed, I got to light one, you know, and like he's kind of like just painting it out, like his situation is a tight one, you know, what you gonna do, fight or run, etc. And he goes through the whole like thing, and then you get this like fucking classic Puff Daddy moment. We forgive you, but you know not what you do. And it's like, dude, you just had to be there, right? Like you just,
He's
like, you just
always
needed
there.
to like show your opinion. It has no value, in my opinion, in this song. It's just kind of like this strange interlude that gets between Biggie and Busy.
Well, I guess, I mean, Puff probably had like the final say
Yeah, of
on
course.
this, you know? So he was just like, I'm going to put myself in every song.
So Puffy is awesome, man. That's all I'm saying. And then Busy comes in with like 7 a.m. woke in the morning with handicap feeling green and
I
just like
how
rolls in,
Busy
man.
puts emphasis on his words,
Mm-hmm.
like like the way he carries the notes is insane.
Man, and like my favorite part of his verse has always been we mean mug mo thugs trying to be perfect disciples survival triple tongue double edged sword triple 6 rivals spit and fire this the real truth bridge breaking up for lies my messiahs better get ready for Armageddon shit's inspired. And then test me now never no surrender no pretend pick up my pen and my hemp one of my trusted friends. It's just like that line I like a lot because you get the sense that he needs the pen and the rhymes and the words. He needs the weed to keep his brain flowing. And
that's what he said.
it's pick up my pen and my hemp. I mean, I know what it says on the Genius page, but if you click on it, you'll see corrections in the annotations of people saying that's not the correct line. I always heard it as hemp anyway. He gets weeded, right? Because that's what he's up, you know.
Right.
And then there's that classic 666 rival line, which is like, you know, potentially taking some shots at 3-6 Mafia. Right. Although, since I've looked into it, everybody now claims that it had nothing to do with it and it was more like end of the world shit. But, you know, that's what people say now. I never really considered the fact that Crazy Bone is actually selling bags of fake crack to fiends to make money because he's broke. And that's the like, give me back my money. That whole part's like the fiend coming back to get a refund. And I never knew that before. Like I probably said all of these words and never really paid attention to what they were. And that was pretty cool. I really like to put in a state to get down with the crime, smoking the reefer to ease my mind, swig some wine, you know, like it's just so good. Lazy's then the chorus kicks in because you know those 3 guys all go with no chorus, but then there's a chorus, and then Lazy comes in.
It's like they took the chorus time to wake Lazy up. Like, yo, you're about to go on. Hurry up.
He just like wakes up, sings the song, and falls back to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, given his verse.
Oh, maybe, eh? But I really like when he's like, so I up my pipe, dying, and I'm always running for the boys in blue. Biggie blues on my ass, but pull out the cellular phone to call Bone. What's happening? I don't know why, but I really love how that sounded. Grab artillery, start packing, because the motherfucker tried to hit him, and you know, like he's like doubled over his voice and stuff, and the effect on it. It sounds really, really cool. And then who doesn't love and the red rum rum
I
rum
like
rum
that.
rum rum.
I don't
And
think
it was like this is a 5.
when you you said
It's a 5.
Oh, it is absolute 5 on 5. Absolute 5 on 5.
And I apologize for fucking stuff up.
When you said that like, apparently Lazy was like drunk in the studio and all that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was Lazy, but that's the story I've read.
It for me kind of shows in his verse. Like he has the shortest verse compared to the other Bones, and even compared to Biggie. And I didn't feel like
Biggie's verse is fucking huge.
Right. But I didn't feel like Lazy.
It makes sense. He's big.
Like-
Lazy's lazy. It's just what they're meant to be. It's in their name, folks.
Okay, but I didn't feel like Lazy really did it this time. Personally, I feel like it was like he went in, he just spit his thing, and it was like,
No,
all right,
Lazy's
I'm
my
going-
boy.
I'm going out.
I'm not feeling. I mean, I can feel he's a little drunk, but I don't feel.
I don't know.
Feeling.
I just was like, I've heard.
I can't feel
different.
my face.
But I gave it a 5 on 5. It was a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, so this is a great song.
It's a lovely song.
This is a party song. You know, like we said, this is definitely like a Bone Thugs and Harmony kind of
But
beat.
it's no party and bullshit. Let's be clear.
No, it's not. But this is a Bone and Biggie. So this is like, can you really ask for anything better than all of this? This is just the best mix that you can put together. There's like a clap along beat, so like they're trying to get like the whole crowd and everybody listening to like clap along and enjoy this music with them. So Biggie's talking about his life in the streets and like in the game that he's, you know, kind of lived in, and Biggie is questioning this and like, you know, how it made him successful. Like this lifestyle that he's leading like made him, you know, be where he's at, where, you know,
Right.
and I think he's kind of like in disbelief almost of that. And then Busy's like instantly there, and like it just kind of feels like he just comes out of nowhere, and it just feels so different from the rest of the album having like, you know, Bone Thugs on it. But he's instantly there, and he's amazing. He's killing it. And he's kind of like talking truth about like what he's like seen and talking about thug life and like, you know, just living that life. Crazy comes in, epic, of course, again. Like this is like, you know, kind of just talking about like things that he's had to do to get by and like, you know, the struggle and you know, like they're both kind of like this is like the Don't Fuck With Them song. Like they're basically like, here are a bunch of examples of tough things that we've done, so don't mess with us. So like that's kind of what it is. And then we have Lazy at the end, and he kills it again, of course. You know, talks a lot about murder and getting high and just like the basic kind of lazy fun stuff that you get from him. So basically this song is epic. This is everything I could want on a song.
In a sense, you could say Lazy was in fact coming in the form of scripture based on your description just there. Could you not?
What do you mean?
Because you said, you know, just as you would expect from Lazy, kind of like how you would expect scripture to dictate stuff. And the first line of the verse is Lil Hey coming in the form of scripture. Anyway, I was trying to make a joke on the fucking song. Jeez.
Yeah, I just really liked it. I don't know. I didn't think all of that. But anyways, I loved it. It's a 5 on 5. It could be a 6 on 5 if it needs to be. But this. If you don't know this song, go listen to it right now.
That's true. But then come back and we'll miss you.
Crept in, and now I'm listening.
In this one, Biggie has like this friend who he knew from back in the day who was involved in some illicit activities, and once Biggie was going to pop, he was going to take him out the hood, and just as he was about to take him out the hood, he got popped, and he wrote this kind of song commemorating that situation and that story, you know?
I completely missed it then.
I mean,
I know that the song's about Biggie missing somebody. I know that there's situations and things that happen.
that
but
was like the whole intro part where they were like talking a different. That's
Right,
what was
right.
being like
I feel
contextualized.
there's 3 stories, because if I'm not mistaken, the last story is about a girl, like Drew, this person named Drew, who's a girl who got clipped, and that was like his main girl, like his favorite. So, I don't know. I might be wrong. I may have read the lyrics wrong. I may have like.
I mean, I think you're right in the sense that there's more than one situation being described in the song. I meant like the general theme of what brought this song to be in that little intro, and then he starts off with that with like, I remember selling 3 bricks and straight flour, got a man beat down, got the power, blah blah blah, and then like he kind of describes how they all kind of he sold some fake powder, then used that money to get some real shit. His boy got beat for the situation, but was cool with it because they got some of the best quality stuff and were able to like take over and whatnot. Then at a certain point, he has to like leave and go down south because some bad stuff happening. He was annoyed with the cop. No, he was annoyed with the cops that were like messing with him. So he was trying to dodge the heat. And then when he left, he got clipped. And then Biggie's kind of left with the people kind of questioning, like, "Yo, you sent him away. You got him killed." But you know, like some of the people who knew the game understood the risk, but the moms, the people crying, etc. And then it kind of moves into, and like I kind of felt like, so he tells like all that story, and then it rolls into the part with the girl. A few months, he got his brains blown out. Now I'm stressed. His baby mother, she tripping, blaming me, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes in and tells the story about that other girl who would, I think he's trying to say, and it's not just like here, it is kind of, because like he kind of seems to be like conveying some of the darker stories all around. And like, I just got the feeling then he just told this other tangent tale of this girl, Drew, who.
The tangent tale is also really kind of like scary in a sense, like, and I just thought of it now. There's consequences to actions, as we know. And in the previous song, or maybe the one not the previous song, but the one before, when Biggie was explaining the story about when he robbed the girl that he was sleeping with, and it was the New York Knicks dude. Well, in this song, the verse about the girl, she's sleeping with some dude, and his wife or his baby mama comes and tries to shoot them both, but ends up clipping the girl, the like the side chick, we can call her, right? So it's like already within like a spurt of like a separation of one track, you get two similar stories with different outcomes. And it's like you still get these messages of like how things kind of work and how things are happening and like different experiences that are going around. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, go.
Finish up.
Well, I ended up giving the song a 4 on 5. I like the story. I like the storytelling behind it. I like how he connects like different stories and different tales to try to give you a broader view of the picture. But yeah, all in all, I gave it a 4.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is like sort of like what I took away was that it's about a friend that he was like, you know, that ended up getting killed in like the game, and you know, he's sad about this guy being gone and like what happened to him, and he was like trying to like help him out and like get out of like, you know, kind of like, I guess sort of out of doing bad things and whatever. And like he sees, you know, he's just missing him, and that's it. And he sees like, you know, and the guy had a kid or has kids, and he sees him in them, and Biggie finds that really hard to like look at his kid, you know, this guy's kids who's been killed, and just, you know, he sees his friend, you know, when he looks at the kids. So I think that's kind of sad. And, you know, they were good friends, and now he's missing him, and, you know, kind of talking about fun times that he had with him, and not like now how his family and like, you know, is blaming him. But he was, you know, it wasn't his fault. Like he was trying to like do his best to like get him out of trouble. In that sense. And then, you know, we have the story about Drew and like how she got shot instead of I wasn't sure if like she was supposed to like maybe be shot as well, or she was shot by accident instead of someone else. So I wasn't really clear on that, but I thought that was good. It seemed like heartfelt and good and sad, and like it's true to like what was going on, and it's sad that he's got all these friends who have been murdered. And it just talks a lot about, you know, like, I mean, for me, like I took away like gun violence is just not good for anybody, right? Like, you know, whether you're the person who holds a gun or whether you're someone that was trying to like get someone out of trouble, and just like, you know, know, killing a young person is just not good anytime.
Killing people
so
is not good,
just
period.
Don't do it. Yeah. But I gave it a 4.25.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of Biggie dealing with his emotions to the situation, right? Like I'm a thug, but I swear for 3 days I cried. I'd look in the sky and ask God why I can't look his baby girls in the eye. Damn, I'm missing him. Like,
yeah.
Like this is perhaps the reality of losing people dear to him is not something he's very comfortable with. People that are like his subordinates maybe, or people who depend on him or rely on him, and he's in this powerful position.
He obviously put like time and energy into this person and like tried to like help him out of his situation.
But I think it's like it's more that he has that responsibility of everyone counting on him and everyone looking up to him. Like for all terms and purposes, he could be Superman and the song is still valid for everything that it wants to like put out in terms of its message. I think that the circumstances are what they are, but I think it's more about failing and the feeling of failing people in terms of not being able to come through on those promises at the end of the day, and the heavy weights and the way people treat you after, and having to live with some of that baggage and whatnot. Anyway, I give it a 5. I thought it was fucking excellent. It really got me thinking. It was really powerful, deep storytelling, really interesting song.
Well, let's check out another.
Okay.
In with the Chrome Dot 6 yard. All day was creeping. To trips to VA every third week.
So, Biggie and Kim are arguing because they're both fucking other people. And
Apparently,
both,
this is a real argument, though.
Yeah, it was apparently a real one.
Accidentally
According to
recorded.
Kim, she got choked out at the end of it by Biggie, and it was not supposed to be recorded, yeah. And then apparently the check it line was added after to make it more seem like it was part of the song. And then basically they both lay out these really rhythmic and interesting flows, like some really good fucking flows and deliveries. But like really it's just about how, well, Biggie's talking about how girls fucking and cheating on him, so he's gonna fuck around, and then her verse is basically how he fucked. And like her verse is definitely about Biggie, even though his verse could be about anyone, you know?
Right.
They both have that little hook thing. What do you do when your bitch is untrue? And then her version is like, you know, about the man. And yeah, it's really like fucking interesting. Like my favorite part is when Kim's like, you see 9 out of 10 ain't shit and 1 out of 5 suck a dick. So she's implying that 20% of males are sucking on some penises. You're mad at me. Too bad she ain't as bad at me. Shoulda kept the freak bitch off my canopy. Now you see, ain't no pussy warm as mine, long as mine, etc. Ain't no love as strong as mine. When I sucked your dick, it's like smoking a roach. And then she says he has a tiny dick because he's fat, you know? And that was the joke there, because Biggie's a big guy, so he's got to have a tiny dick. And she's making fun of him like that. I don't know how he treat you like I treat you. Trying to explain your game is see-through. Sex is lethal. I ain't gonna lie. It's like Biggie's side of it, you know? And it's just kind of just fun. Like malicious, like revenge sex played out. Probably some realistic shit that had played out in both of these people's lives for real. It was dramatic.
Well, yeah,
it was
especially
flared
if it was
out.
like a caught like argument. Like this is like a legit thing.
Yeah, so I give it a 4.5 on 5. It was really fun.
I mean, I like we said, this was a real argument between them. Like she played him, like kind of, you know, she's sort of a little bit like a gold digger, I guess, at that point. Like, you know, but I think she also was giving it out. Like she was, you know, playing. And they both aren't very happy, and Lil Kim is clearly pissed, you know, with him. And this is sort of like the end of their relationship, I'm guessing. I think it's kind of cool that they stayed close enough to be able to like have like this argument and whatever and move past it and kind of like still be friends and like make this song together. So I thought that was interesting. But besides that, it was not my favorite. I give it a 3.75.
Well, I like I like both sides of the story. I like how Biggie did like the male side of how like how males would feel in this situation, how they're thinking. Kim plays the other role for the females. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I like they both are acting the way that they would act if this is something that would happen. I would like to think, you know, it's kind of normal. Some people might not go cheat. Some people might stay. Some people might go and leave and go fuck someone else. I mean, y'all
every
are entitled to do
relationship
whatever you
is,
want, right? Relationships are
you know,
relationships. But I don't know. It just the sound of the song and the beat was really annoying to me. I felt like it was just some like wonkiness to it. Like they were just kind of giggling through the chorus, kind of just trying to get over the argument, get over the fight, and just trying to make this into a theme thing. I don't know. I gave it a 3.9. It didn't really sound that like.
I mean, that's kind of the point, though. It's like that was the turbulent nature of probably a lot of people's relationships, and I'm not saying that. Like, it's how, oh, you're so violent and you're so fucking mad and you're angry in that moment, but then later on you're just all whatever because you're kind of addicted to each other. And I think that is realistic. That is the most honest thing that, like, that is some shit. So to even, like, comment how that might be kind of weird, nah, that is some... That is exactly what happens in those moments, you know?
Just to clarify, I'm really just talking about the sound. Like, the sound of the song just didn't sit with me.
It's like an authentic, grimy, like fucking. Anyway, that's fine. It doesn't have to sit with you. I'm just wanted to comment on the giggling part.
No, of course,
it, like,
of course.
authentic.
I didn't mean to like.
No,
I didn't mean to like bash on the theme of it. It's just the sound of it, their vocals.
I get it. Anyway, I thought it was pretty fucking strong, you know. Anyway, let's talk about going back to Cali.
Iced out, lights out, me and Caesar Leo. Getting head for some chick he know. See us on.
I hate how this song starts. Like, I think there's a music video to this, and I remember because I remember watching it. I think he's in Brown or something, and I didn't see it this time around because I forgot until we were, like, recording. But I remember, like, this long, drawn-out intro with Puffy calling. I thought it was just part of the video. No. It was right there on the record. So it's like 1 minute and 20 seconds.
But I liked it because it's basically like, Puff is basically like calling Biggie, giving him like the flight details and letting him know that he's going to California, trying to like wake him up, and then like he repeatedly makes sure that he's awake and that he will be getting up and he will be meeting him at the airport at 7 or 7:30 or whatever time. But like, obviously, like, he's a busy man and he needs someone to, like, wake him up and, like, be his alarm and be his manager and tell him this is where you need to be, like, right now.
Busy man, or is it that he's a little bit of a lazy man?
Well, either way, I think he's both. I think he's obviously, a busy guy. He's making money and he's doing things. He's making deals and whatever he's doing. And
out late partying with the
yeah,
ladies.
I mean, he's busy. I'm not saying what it is that he's doing, but I'm just saying he's busy. And
it sounds like friendship, though. It sounds like...
Of course.
It sounds like his friend called him and was like, yo...
It's like his brother, He's kind of like telling him, like, this is where you need to be. Like, are you awake? Are you awake? Are you awake?
As much as it was his friends, it was a little bit more his boss going, I swear to fucking God, Biggie, if you miss this fucking flight again,
I got that
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
But I think it's also
subtext
like was
of that
Biggie kind of his manager at the time? Like, it seems
Puff
like
Daddy is the owner.
Puff,
yeah, absolutely. Puff Daddy's his manager, his producer.
So I mean, like, he's
detailed
oriented, where
guy,
Biggie's just leaving that in his hands.
So Biggie's just like being Biggie. I'm Biggie. Right?
He's more like, oh, Biggie, he's waking up.
And then he's waking up. But, like, I think the best part of that phone call, Kelly?
He's so excited. He's like, wait, we're going?
Hey. And then this is his love song to Cali. And then all of a sudden, like, that bassy, West Coasty kind of feeling beat kicks in.
Yeah.
It's basically the other signal, Hypnotize, but, like, slower and more about Cali directly. There's big, allow me to quote, if I got to choose a coast, I got to choose the East. Understandable, because he's from the East. Mm-hmm. I live out there, so don't go there if you want to have beefs and stuff. Cool. But that don't mean I can't rest in the West. See some nice breast in the West. Smoke some nice cess in the West. Y'all is
That's
a
great
mess.
Place to visit.
So basically, he wants to, as according to Kendrick Lamar, the weather, weed, and women. That's what he wants to go down for and enjoy. Yeah. So he understands the recipe as put together by Dr. Dre and Kendrick, and he wants to preach that. I do like the part on the third verse because, like, it's not a lot in terms of content. Great bars, decent flow. Going back to Cali. Cali is one of the most memorable choruses you're gonna hear. It's gonna just ring in your head.
Like rolling through the car, like in the back of the car, like even on the plane. And he's like, "Yes, we're going back to Cali." I'm so excited. I'm just gonna write a song about it. Like he's just so happy to go back to Cali.
It shows his appreciation for the West Coast.
Rich and impressive. He can just get the hoe and take her to the fast food joint because
In and Out, baby.
Like that's how
Fat Burger.
Fat burger. Fat burger is delicious. Anyway, so all I'm gonna say is this is a 4.25 because that intro, okay, I'll give it to you. The first couple of times is kind of swell, but we're talking a minute 20, and I don't think it's as funny the 5th or 6th or 8th time I've heard it. And the beat's okay, but it only stays at like okay. So ultimately, it's just not my favorite song on this album, but I also recognize it's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, basically that's it. It's like, the money, what is it, the weather, girls, and weed that he goes
weed,
for.
And women.
And I think he's also quoting LL Cool J's, like some song from like 1988.
Yes.
And like he lives in New York, but relaxes and vacations and like in California, and he goes, I think there's a lot of kinky girls. I mean, I've been to LA. I would definitely say, I mean, obviously, I don't know about back then a little bit, but I mean, that's like the place for sex, I would say, because there's a lot of porn that goes on there.
For
and
the
a
record,
lot of girls who are trying to get
so
famous.
is Montreal.
Yeah, but it's less so. But they're just, they're just trying to get famous somehow, some way, and sleeping with people is a pretty
It's
powerful
Canada's
tool.
version.
No.
It actually is. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
I'm a girl that lives in Montreal. I think I know what I'm talking about. Anyways.
Pornhub is based out of our city.
Okay. All right. Anyways.
Actually, I know a friend who works there.
Yeah, there's lots of people that work there.
And they produce in Quebec. Anyway, go on.
It's good money. It's good money. It's a good local industry. Anyways.
Just wanted that validation.
Support your local porn star.
Yeah, go for it. So yeah, he just says that, LA is great. It's basically a great place to live. That's a direct quote from his song. Great place to visit, but not, he doesn't want to live there. But I think that it's nice, and he's showing appreciation for the West Coast, especially during a time when there is that beef between East Coast, West Coast. And he's kind of saying, like, fuck that. Like, I'm going for the sun.
Thinking I'm going to stop giving LA props. All I got is beef with those who violate me. I shall annihilate these.
Right,
So-
he doesn't care about where you're from. He just cares if you hate him.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's how you should live. So it's a fun song. It sounds like a summer hit. So I gave it a 4.25, same as you.
Nice. I give the song a 4 on 5. It's catchy. It's his song of praising Cali, being happy to go back. Like I said, I can picture him just being super excited about wanting to go back to Cali, even from the little intro when you can picture him smiling when Puff told him they're going to Cali, and he was like, "Whoa, what?"
It kind of made him wake up.
Right? Like he's just really happy, and he's in, like we keep saying, weather, weed, and women. He's going. I gave it a 4.
All right, so let's talk about the 10 crack commandments.
She be laying in the bushes to light that ass up. Number 4, know you heard.
So apparently this beat was originally used as a radio promo. Puff went on the radio, heard it, and said he wanted a beat, paid a bunch of money, got the beat, then Biggie rapped over it and created a very interesting track where he ripped off a list. So many believe Big drew inspiration for this song from the July 1994 issue of The Source magazine. It's the same copy his mom was reading in the Juicy video. And then if you do look at the list that appears from that magazine, it is each of the 10 crack commandments, that exact order that Biggie put them in. So Biggie paid his homage in a way he knew how, but he just kind of goes through the rules of selling drugs, really. Like, my favorites are number 3, don't trust nobody. Your moms will set that ass up, property gassed up, hoodie to masked up, shit for the fast buck, just don't trust anybody. Even your mom will take you out. Number 4, everybody's heard this before. Never get high on your own supply. It's a very good one. Number 5, never sell no crack where you rest at. I don't care if you want an ounce, tell them bounce. And like, if you really think about it, these are fucking proper rules to live life by, Number 6, that goddamn credit, dead it. You think a crackhead paying you back, shit, forget it.
Don't front.
Number 7, keep your family away. Money and blood don't mix like 2 dicks and no bitch.
Never
But he does
mix
it all.
business with pleasure.
And apparently, if you're going to have 2 dicks in the room, there must be a female between them. Ultimately, this track is fantastic. It's really well done. It's grimy. It's kind of like a little bit simple compared to some of it, but it's also like Biggie sharing some wisdom. Even if you do rip off the list, I don't care, because the flow on this is proper. I think if you really apply the wisdom of these 10 tracks, it's pretty cool. So he fulfills his role as the Moses of crack dealing, and I give this a 5 on 5. I love the griminess. It's fucking great.
Nice.
For me, like, Biggie is basically like the god of the game, and he's kind of like explaining, like, he's like, these are the rules. If you follow them, you'll be successful in the game too. You'll be like me. But like right away, I could tell that this song wasn't going to be my favorite. Like, there was something about like the beat or the sound of it, or just like the griminess of it. It just didn't appeal to me so much. And it's basically like all the warnings about like how to handle and deal with crack. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was kind of meh. Like, it was good, but it was skippable for me. Like, it was not my favorite, like I said, and it was probably the lowest mark I'm pretty sure that I've given. So it's a 3.5 for me.
That's okay.
Nice. The intro to the song, the do 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 do, or however it goes. I think I heard that on like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater game, or like a skate type game, one of those skateboarder games, and that really stuck with me. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is something I'm used to, and I've heard this song before. It's okay. I never really liked it. I think that when dealing with what the list deals with, yes, these are very smart moves for crack dealing, drug dealing.
This is very smart moves for literally any type of business you will ever operate in your whole life.
Thank you for finishing my sentence. Because I was going to say that as well. I think that if you implement these rules in any part of your life, it's just good business, like, at all.
So good.
I gave it a 4.5, though.
Okay. Play a hater.
Okay.
Robin Spree will make money.
Remember that Mase outro on Harlem Worlds?
Nope.
That was like the really long singy.
Y'all did Harlem World.
I can't remember anymore. So it was this for like 10 minutes of like Mase and Puffy being players and stuff. And this is interesting, right? Because you have like Biggie coming out. He's gonna do some classic old timey like.
Well, it sounds like a jazz bar that he's at, like a small audience. He's like on stage introducing it. Like it makes it sound like a classy song.
So my first thought was, oh boy, but then I really listened to what Biggie was saying. Playa, hater, open the door, lay you on the floor, you've been robbed, wake up, take off your jewels, you fucking fool, you've been robbed. So he's really just taking this format of this old croony, singy style, romantic setting and putting his I'm robbing you on Biggie touch on it. It's got Puffy doing his Puffy thing.
He certainly does his Puffy thing. He really goes overboard, especially at the end of this song. But it's clearly like
his
this
falsetto,
is a joke.
his like little
Yeah. He just keeps going, and it's just like, oh, it's just crazy.
It doesn't sound very good to me, but it made me laugh.
Yeah.
3.5 on 5.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It's slow and funny. It's just about robbing someone, making money, trying to convince a girl.
It's creative, very creative. It's a good look. I understand how like. If you really dig the style or something, it's a good parody of that style of music. I'm not trying to diminish it. It's a good joke.
Yeah, it's obvious that it's a joke too. Like just the way that like Puff is like not taking it seriously.
I think Puff is taking it seriously.
No, he's not. No, he's
Puff
not.
does
He's absolutely not taking this seriously. It's a joke. Him and Biggie are having fun on this song.
I agree.
And you can definitely
and
feel
I think
that.
Biggie knows it's a joke.
No, I think they both know. Anyways, I think Biggie probably sat him down and explained what he meant.
Remember, Puff is Biggie's boss.
I know, but we're talking about song content. Anyway, I'm being a shit. The guy's worth $1 billion. Who the fuck am I? That's what you're thinking.
True. True. So Puff is getting really high, and like I think that also is vocally because he gets really high in this song. Like
fake falsetto.
So don't hate me because I'm beautiful. And then in the video, there's like a video for this, and like I think there's from what I saw, like Biggie's just kind of like, look at how pretty I am. Like, anyways, it was funny. So it's sort of like just a sexy song about robbing people, about robbing rich people. So he's smart. He goes probably to like the nice part of town, robs them, and then comes back to the hood. So I mean, makes sense. It's funny. There's like people clapping at the end, so it's very much like a small theater audience kind of thing. That's it. I gave it a 4 on 5. It's funny. It did its job.
I gave it a 3.5 on 5. I didn't like it. Like just the sound and the song itself, I didn't like it. But I can respect their lyrics. I can respect what they're saying. They do it. They presented the flow and the lyrics properly. It's just, I'm not going back to this.
Okay.
I get that.
Nasty boy. Let's check that out.
Say no more, except how I'm getting home tomorrow. Caesar drop you off when he see his
So this starts off with one of those skits that, for anything you want to say about the 90s, just remember that this is also part of the 90s. Biggie tells us the story about how he's nasty and he thought he was into everything and he thought he knew what was up until
He was a nasty boy.
And then he went to meet this girl and the girl wanted her to like shit on him. or wanted him to shit on her, and he's like, wait, yeah, I'll shit on you, like, by, like, dipping out and bouncing, and she's like, no,
Because
no,
he couldn't
I
imagine,
want
like,
you to literally defecate
on me.
but she doesn't say it. I use the word defecate, but, and then, like, you could just picture Biggie squatting on this girl, and then he goes, what am I supposed to do, like, poop on you, and then, like, we come at you after, and she's like, nah, whatever, and then he goes, so I did, and she just washed it off. And that's, like, the skit. So you just get this visual of Biggie squatting down, dropping a load on the
and
chest.
to be honest, that visual of, can you imagine? Is anybody here imagining this with me? Biggie.
I am now.
He's a large fellow over your chest, just this big brown butt pooping on you, and I'm sure his poops aren't little. So I'm just like,
I'm just picturing it spray out.
I'm just like, nope.
And then we go into, we're not even monetizing, fucking crazy. We go into, like, basically another sex verse. Like it's like fucking you tonight, only better, because it's not got that R. Kelly bit to it. But sex is drama, head is trauma, because the blowjob is so good that it may as well be trauma. Again, plays up in my drama line. Rip pajamas, I'ma stay till tomorrow, satisfying my needs twice with whipped cream, handcuffs, and ice. The bitch is nice, word is bond. He says a lot of Wu-Tang-y stuff. Can't wait to put my on what. So not only is it so good, he's so nasty, he's giving it to Lil Cease after, and Puff Daddy. So
Wait. He's giving it to Puff Daddy? Is that
well,
what you
giving
said?
the lady that he's freaked to Puff
I
Daddy
think he
after he's
also-
done.
I feel like him
feel-
and Puff are like a little
I
bit
don't think
romantic.
that-
They hold hands in the back and stuff
I
like
don't
that.
know about that. Anyway, apparently this
Rhodes.
was recorded the night Pac died. So that was something anecdotal and interesting.
Okay.
Anyway, 4.25. It's kind of fun. It's got a nice vibe to it. Biggie drops sex bars. Is what it is.
Yeah. I like, that we've got feature of Kelly Price on here. She's usually in
yeah.
like these kinds of dirtier types of songs, is from what I've noticed about her. Telling someone on the phone, obviously, about like his, nasty sexual escapade, and like, shitting on the girl because she was asking for it. And like, he just like whips out his dick. And he talks about like how he always wears a condom. So that's really good that he's promoting safe sex, and also unwanted children, because he's famous and rich, right? He doesn't want to like have any problems like that. She says, he's nasty, but, she likes it. There's lots of kinky sex, I guess, going on. And he gets all like the fine ladies, he can romance them in bed, like, kind of like to woo them into bed. So he knows how to play each individual lady that he's with, and like what it is that she needs in order for him to get laid.
Right.
So I think that he's pretty smart. It's catchy, it's funny. I get a 4.5 on 5.
So it's basically what Chris said about Biggie when we were talking about Hypnotize. See, Chris is smart.
Yeah, he appeals.
See?
He appeals to everybody.
Right. Did you all give grades on this one?
I gave the song a 4. It's
All right, Chris.
It's a good song. It's okay. He likes doing multiple things. He likes having sex.
He'll try anything once, right?
And, he'll try anything once. I don't hate him for
He just copying funny now.
I don't hate him for doing what he did. I think that he must have enjoyed himself and had a great time.
All right, so we'll talk about how the sky's the limit.
Yes, we will.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody doing tonight? I'd like to welcome.
This starts off very sweet. Like his mommy, Voletta Wallace, is kind of telling him about how she's worried about him, how the life he's living is a little bit dangerous, and she kind of just knows that if he holds on to his dreams, he can get to a better place. And then the song kind of goes into telling a little bit of how he kind of went through this transition of being like this regular little hooligan into a guy who, while he still kind of deals drugs and he still kind of has that street life in him, like you get like a real sense of growth. Like while we out here, we say the hustler's prayers. If the game shakes me or breaks me, I hope it makes me a better man. Take a better stand. Put money in my mom's hand. Give my daughter the college grant so she don't need no man. Stay far from timid. Only make moves when your heart's in it, and live the dream. Sky's the limit. Just the way that ends, right? So you get this whole tale of like let's say the softer, more like movie version of Biggie's life than you have on the rest of the album, but like in a really serious tone. And it ends with him living for other people and finding some growth beyond selfishness. It's like everything he's doing now is to make sure his family can have a better future and everything, and it's just so well rounded. And it's cute the way he like introduces himself, like he's the MC introduced, the Notorious B.I.G, the guy said from ashy to classy and blah blah blah, and then at the end he kind of like has another little outro bit, and it's like this really like all encompassed beautiful story piece documenting his life in a way where you really feel like the growth, considering maybe how he was in a lot of the other songs on this project. Anyway, exactly. I give this a 4.5 on 5. I thought it was a great beat, a great sound, and a really like heartwarming kind of feel to it.
Nice.
Absolutely. I think that I agree 100% that there shows growth and maturity, and it's another side of Biggie that you don't really get that often. Like you were saying, there's a lot of like savagery and gangsterism throughout the entire album that when you see this and you're hearing Biggie talk about how he's trying to help other people and he's doing it for this and he's doing it for that, it's like, shit, you have multiple layers that you're not showing us, and when you're ready, you're going to show us, right? Mm-hmm. One of the lines I liked a lot was, your brain was a terrible thing to waste. 88 on gates, snatch initial nameplates, smoking spliffs with real life beginner killers, praying God forgive us for being sinners, help us out. And I like that. From what I took away from that is like, one, they're praying for forgiveness for doing what they have to do to survive, live, make ends meet, or whatever the case is. But two, the whole line with the brain and wasting it. Now I might be taking it out of context, but I feel like Biggie's trying to be like, don't fuck up your head. Like, try to go get knowledge, try to go and educate yourself, and try to get like on top of the game, on top of like whatever level you need to be on, because like the brain is one of the most powerful things ever, you know? Like you don't want to waste that I guess tool or entity you have.
Yep.
So I really thought that was cool. I liked 112 on the hook, on the chorus, really great. It meshed well with Biggie's deep kind of tone that he's got, and her tone was really nice. I give it a 4.5 on 5.
I think 112 is for dudes or something like that.
Yeah.
I heard a chick. My bad.
Sometimes a guy with a high pitched voice.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you know, kind of talking again about like the mother's words at the beginning and how she's so proud of him, but she's worried, and kind of a bit dramatic. You know, like music that's going on there. He's singing it in front of like a small audience, I think. You know, and he says, you know, like give it up for him, but it's basically himself. And it's sort of like a rags to riches story. It was acting like, you know, I feel like this lifestyle, like it's what he always wanted, because he talks about it, you know, kind of acting like a king or a royalty or like a pimp or whatever. Even as a kid, like having people like serve him, and like he was working like these other kids and like doing what he had to do, like even in, you know, in elementary school or whatever, he was acting like king shit. I think that's kind of cool. He gets all the ladies now, and like they're not like, you know, they're not just like his friends, like they want him. You know, he keeps going, and, you know, get what you want, do what you need, be what you want. And he's basically saying, like, if you work hard, you can have, you know, you can be like him, you know, you can get here, you can have like this success. So it's a pretty positive message. I gave it a 4 on 5. It wasn't my favorite song, but I appreciated the positive messages of it.
All right, cool. So let's talk about how the world is filled with players and pimps and stuff.
Sure.
Nigga drag his mink on the floor, won't you admit it? I ain't gotta talk it cause I live it.
This is a song featuring Too Short and Puff Daddy. I mean, it's almost weird to even say featuring Puff Daddy at this point. He's on many of the songs, whether or not he's featured as a featured artist.
He's just there.
Yeah.
But let's go through it. So this one is kind of like taking their perspective more literally on pimping in this case. So it's not like pimping and like whatever. It's literally pimping, and they brought in Too Short, who's got the pimping rhymes, right? So Puff says something I thought was funny. Pimp so hard, drag his mink on the floor. Won't you admit it? I ain't got to talk because I live it. Ain't any chick fucking me, believe me, that's a privilege. So I was thinking like, well, Puff, if you don't have to talk because you're living it, why say that line? Like, you clearly are going to talk because you've been bragging about this your whole career. So that whole line just felt a little weird to me. I get it, he's trying to sound real and shit, but it just felt kind of weird. Then you got, lines like, when the Remy's in the system, ain't no telling, will I fuck him, will I diss him? That's what these hoes yelling. I'm a pimp by blood, no relation. Y'all still chase him, I'll replace him. And that's a little bit more, like, on cool. That's Biggie kind of showing that his reputation's a little spastic. They can't even tell, like, is he in one of those moods where I'm safe? Is it a dangerous situation? He keeps them on edge. He shows some tactics to his game. He shows his game a little bit. Unlike Puffy, who's just like, I got money. Puff Daddy sounds like he pays for prostitutes most often, not the other way around. I just want to put it out there.
Jeez.
He sounds desperate. I actually wrote that in my notes. Fuck. I had the thought now. I wrote it in my notes. And then Too Short really takes the time to break down how ladies are very clever. And he almost seems to have a high level of respect. I had a whole lot of bitches in my lifetime. I've been blessed with the game. I always said the right lines. Had a few prostitutes, and if you knew the truth, they're like pimps, and you can't let them do it to you. She ain't no sucker. I know that bitch, man. She want to be a pretty woman loving a rich man. So pretty woman, getting herself a nice guy, take her
Well,
out
also,
the
Pretty
thing.
Woman is a play on the movie where she's a prostitute.
That's literally what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, at the end of the day, Too Short's the pimpiest of the pimps. Biggie looks like he has some game, but he's more just I feel like Biggie he's more of a player is how I feel Biggie is, and Puff is just a rich guy who has sugar babies. That's my thoughts on that. It's a fun little ditty, but all things considered, I give it a 4.25. It's an okay song, but I could totally live without hearing it again.
Yeah. I mean, it's a smooth song. I mean, basically, Puff just trying to be the best he can be. He gets hot ladies, everywhere he goes. He has a lot of fun, like sexually, I'm guessing. He lives the life. And Too Short kind of is talking about like how he regrets sleeping with some prostitutes and that you shouldn't don't let them take advantage of you, and don't get involved with them. Be a pimp, not a John, is basically like what I took away from this.
Right, Puffy?
So it's sort of like a sexy, weird song. For me, there was not enough Biggie because is there any Biggie? Really? So I gave it a 3.75 on 5.
Nice.
Yes, there was Biggie.
I enjoyed the song. I like how Biggie, Puff, and Too Short all gave their little versions of how they kind of have the Mac game, how they kind of do their pimp swag. It just kind of felt like more braggadocious to me a little bit, just like we're kind of better than you guys because we can do this and this is how we move. But the message of like don't let a prostitute or these type of people try to play you is very prominent in this song. I give it a 4.
All right, let's talk about my downfall.
Let's.
You would be with me, sorta like Daddy Dearest. My vision be the clearest. Solid.
You got this phone call where somebody's like breathing into the phone, and he thinks at first it's Faith because they're divorced. They're in the process of getting divorced, and their shit's mad. So he probably just thinks she's mad, but then it's just some guy who's like whispering nonsensical, like "I can fucking get you gay," kind of bullshit.
There's 2 calls, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh,
2 in a row.
Yeah.
so the first one he says nothing, and the second
The
one.
first one he says Faith because the first call sounds like a girl heavy breathing, kind of as if she's in the middle of like having sex or something. And then the second call, literally right after he hangs up, he gets another call, and it's this dude going like, "I'm gonna kill you. Like, watch your back. You fat this. You fat that." Right. And for me, the way I kind of took that little
Biggie just says,
intro,
"Eat a dick."
right? Like he's not really even trying to acknowledge it. People have been threatening him forever now. He's just like, whatever.
He's
I'm
used to
afraid
it.
of you. But I kind of feel like there's people who are jealous of Biggie and mad at him and trying to set him up and trying to get him to flip his lid.
Well, yeah, and he's probably just kind of expressing how he, his reality a little bit. But I like the way he comes back in this whole track's almost like a response, like everyone's kind of wishing for his downfall, but instead, giving cats the opposites of diets. You gain 30 pounds when you die. That's because lead's heavy, right? It's not a light material. Lazy eye, I was high when they hit me. I said, I never thought, I didn't even catch that, because he got smashed anyway. We used to hold the gold, now we floss with diamonds. My team stopped shining, pray my fame start declining. Whining like girlies, stop your whining, you bitches. He's kind of like, guys, stop complaining about my success. It's literally like everything Lil Yachty said in the Lil Yachty projects. If you really think about it, there's a lot of similarities between what Biggie raps about and what Lil Yachty raps about. I didn't think I would make that comparison, but that's some facts right there. No, really. Lil Yachty's like, I'm rich. Why you all hate me? That's what Biggie's saying. I like when he's like, jealous is a motherfucker, you weak, jealous motherfuckers. If you a jealous motherfucker, you just a weak motherfucker. That's Puffy. I mean, he's screaming it. It's weird sounding, but I like what he's saying. It's really, really good. And then there's obviously Be More Gone Than Freeman. Come on, Morgan Freeman fucking rhymes. Fuck around and get wet like semen. Anyway, it's like Biggie's just doing his thing. It's fun. 4.5 on 5. I really enjoy the beat on this, the feel, the energy. I think Puffy's screaming is a bit offsetting, and there's a little bit too much Puffy on this, and I could do without him. But otherwise, the song's great.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we get the warnings on the phone. And then like Biggie says, like when he dies, he's gonna take his enemies with him. Like, don't worry, like his crew will find you and kill you. Like it's gonna be like a whole thing. The beat is a very like late 90s. I found it was like a very like dated sound, but it sounded fine. Like it wasn't like something that couldn't be carried on today, but it just like made me think of like the late 90s. You know, he has, you know, he's just kind of talking about, you know, how he's got this amazing life, and he's, you know, he's there with the love of his life, Puff Daddy. And that's, you know, that's what they're, like, I guess, like, you know, they're dealing with like all these people that like hate them and like are jealous of them and like want to kill him, and you know, just because they want to be him, they want to be with Puff Daddy too. Like, so I mean, the whole song was like a little bit weird, but it was like catchy and interesting. I liked it. It was a bit creepy and very aggressive at the end. I didn't really know it was all about that, but I mean, whatever, you got to do what you got to do. So I gave it a 4.25.
I like the fact that Biggie's he's taking the time to respond to the people. I think that I also agree with the connection that you made, Holden, between Lil Yachty and Biggie, how like there's some resemblance there, especially with what's like the conversations nowadays about today's music and people hating on like the old school rappers and stuff like that. But now we're starting to see like, well, this one's talking the same shit as you, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing every time, right?
That was interesting. I like the song. I gave it a 4.5 on 5. I like the sound to it. I like how Biggie's handling the situation. He's trying to just he's got that aggressive gangster feel to him, but he's also trying to ask questions like why are you hating on me? Like, give me a reason. Don't just call me and tell me you're gonna kill me. At least give me a reason why you're gonna threaten me.
Or why? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, you know, maybe ask.
So I gave it a 4.5.
Okay.
It's also, before we move on, worth noting his whole seafood sex lines. Eating shrimp a la carte with some bitches from Brussels. Eating clams and mussels. Octopus, pretty face, no waist. I just want the bush so I can mac it. I'm just saying, man. I think he literally just used octopus in comparison to a woman there, and that's impressive.
Is it?
I think so. I don't know what the time looks like.
Rhyming puss with puss? Not that complicated.
But to come up with the idea of comparing seafood to sex in a positive way, impressive.
Okay.
So we've been at this for a minute. If you are still with us, I don't know what it looks like after editing, but it's definitely like fucking hours in for us over here.
Long kiss goodnight for you.
Yeah.
Then the average player hater and spectators buy my CD twice.
This song is fucking cool. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like this is a step up. Like, this is one of the coolest fucking tracks on the album. Like, just,
like, in terms of what, though?
Like, the feel of this song. Like, that beat, it's eerie and shit. Like, it's got this strength. Now, if I understand correctly, it's the Pac diss. Now, it really adds...
Oh, the apparent Pac diss.
Really? Oh, all right. I'm off. I messed up.
As far as the apparent part goes... that's what Puffy said. Lil Cease apparently said it was right away, like when it came out, a Pac disc, and then Puffy, he's like, no, that's not true. Probably because this was written after Tupac died, and we know this because of the car accident that gets referenced where he has to walk with the cane and shit. That happened after Pac died, and then anyway he comes in. So. As far as lines, like, I'm flaming gats aiming at these fucking maniacs, put my name in raps, what part of the game is that? Like, they hustle backwards, I smoke backwoods and Dutchies, you can't touch me. So you're right, maybe it's not Pac he's talking about, maybe it's just MCs he's talking about, but...
Personally, I think the song for me kind of just feels like he's a long kiss goodnight is your final kiss, the final bullet you're gonna see.
Well, I think the kiss of death.
Absolutely.
The kiss of my gun.
No, like, the mafia kiss of death. Like I think that's what it is.
Oh, the actual. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right in that sense. That's what this song is like. But I think it's at least allegedly about the Tupac.
Right.
And if it is about Pac, you just have to keep into consideration he wrote this after he died. And no, there's what hugs from fake friends, make ends, they hate you, be broke, girls won't date you. That's why I relate to choke your ass out till your face blue, make you open the safe too. I might be wrong. I don't know if I quoted it, but or you're bleeding lovely with your spirit above me or beneath me. You're dead now. Your whole life you live sneaky. Now you rest eternally sleepily. You burn when you creep me. Rest where the worms and the weak be. So it kind of sounds like who the person he's talking to is already dead, which could be Tupac. I'm not like, I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a stretch maybe, but it is still one of the
But it's highly
harshest.
suggested.
But it's harsh. It's really like, don't fuck with me. Like, this is different. This isn't the same as like Flossie. This is like really like Biggie took this shit to heart and came in with like the meanest shit he could come up with kind of stuff. And it fits so beautifully. The chorus is gloomy and powerful. He also literally goes, you still tickle me. I used to be as strong as Ripple B till Lil C's crippled me. Now I play hard like my girl's nipples be. The game sour like a pickle be. I love the way that sounds, man. And the fact that he threw his girl's nipples into the middle of that rhyme scheme is just sick. 4.75. Amazing fucking song.
I mean, I wasn't a fan of this one too much. I didn't like the way he was like hating on someone in this like particular in this song. I just feel like it didn't suit Biggie to be like having a beef. Like, doesn't he just like get rid of beefs? Like, he doesn't have them. So I don't know.
But how does he get rid of beefs? With the long kiss goodnight.
I guess.
With
But if
the
this
full
guy's
quote.
already dead, then I don't know. It's anyways. I don't know. I give it a 3.75. I'll just leave it at that.
It's okay. You don't have to like them all.
I gave it a 4 on 5. I'll be honest. I made it to track 23. By this point, it was just another, I'm going to come kill you. I'm the last person you're going to see. Like, this is it. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I didn't kind of catch on that it was apparently about Tupac. Maybe that would have done something different in terms of context or whatnot, right?
But isn't it savage if you wrote the dude a diss song after he
It
died?
is. If it is,
Why you gotta hate like that though?
if it's officially the diss song to Pac after Pac's dead,
Did you hear Hit Him Up? Did you hear Hit Him Up? That's all I gotta say. Anyway, it's good. You don't have to like the song. It's totally fine.
I gave it a 4.
And the truth is, you're nobody till somebody kills you. Track fucking 24.
Woo! We're almost done.
I'm big, dangerous, you're just a little vicious as I lead my competition.
This one starts off with Puffy reading Psalms 23, 4 through 6, which is a frequent reading at Christian funerals. And I haven't been to many funerals, so that was a new factoid to pick up. Then he's kind of, yeah, why don't one of you guys start? I've been talking for a while.
So I mean, yeah, this song is, is basically what you just said. It starts off with Puff reading a biblical quote. Maybe it is like a quote that he was reading like at like Biggie's funeral. Like, I don't know. He's somebody, and because Biggie was somebody, and then he was killed. So I think that's kind of also thematic as well. And he doesn't want to die. And it's supposed to be like a play, I guess, on like Dean Martin's song, like You're Nobody Till Somebody Loves You. But like the song itself isn't included in this song at all. It's just like basically like kind of taken from the title. So I thought that was kind of like, come on, throw in some Dean Martin. So for me, like, it was just like serious, like foreshadowing this song, like, and it was like the end and, kind of saying like, this is what's going to happen. And then it did happen. And, and it's just sad. It's good. It was just too bad. And like, it was just very sad that, he had to die this way. And like, this is basically how he dies. So it's the end. I give it a 4 on 5.
I remember what this song's about now. I couldn't remember when we started talking. So it's kind of like Biggie reflecting on the fact that the truth of the matter is, until you die, people will not really remember you. And I think it's really.
I think you become more famous when somebody kills you.
Well, like just check out the whole.
15.
But like check the. It's more than that.
But he's already had his 15. He is somebody.
But
He's
it's
at
like
the top.
it's while you're alive, people don't necessarily pay as much attention to you or care as much to remember who you are.
I
So
agree.
like take that third verse.
It's his legacy.
You can be the shit, flash the fattest five, have the biggest dick, but when your shell get hit, you ain't worth spit. Yeah, just a memory. Remember, he used to drive the Champagne Range. I remember that. Silly cat wore suede in the rain. So they're remembering these weird anecdotes nobody would have ever thought about while he was alive, you know? Swear he put the G in the game, had the Gucci frame before Dana Dane, thought he ran with Kane, can't recall his name. You mean that kid that nearly lost his brain over 2 bricks of cocaine, getting his dick sucked by crackhead Lorraine? A fucking shame. Dude, what's his name? Dark-skinned Jermaine. See what I mean? And he's kind of like contextualizing
Great flow.
how at the end of the day, it's because he died and he's no longer with us in this situation that all these people have taken the time to actually remember him and to think about his legacy, as you were saying, and like to put it together. But it's almost like it requires death to like pull that off, is how Biggie's going through. And the whole song kind of lays that out in more detail, and it's a little bit on the paranoid side. But yeah,
Well,
I
I mean, with good reason.
I give it a 4.5. It's really a good way to end this project. A really interesting song.
Yeah.
That's a question.
Sure.
Do you think if Biggie was still alive today, he'd be the legend he is? With, like, in 2018, with the trap music?
I don't know
with
that
the
he would
lyrics?
still
I
be
absolutely
rapping, but I
do
think
not
that he would
think
still be in
that
the
Biggie
spotlight.
nor Tupac would have the same place in history if they were alive.
No, but I think that they would still have like a place, but they would probably
I think they'd be more like
like
a Nas, who
They'd
the
probably be producing or
2000s would have
something.
come and they would have missed, or something would have happened, or when Lil Jon took over. How does Tupac and Biggie? Maybe they turn into haters and maybe they turn into grumpy old man heads. All I'm saying is, I think that death immortalized some of these figures.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
Which is, and that's part of why I asked, because when I heard the song and I looked at the title and I kind of read through it, it's really cool to see how like Biggie, for me, understood that he'd be a legend if he died. In a way, like, you don't, like, I with what you said earlier as well, when you're alive, nobody really takes the time to remember you as frequent as they should, or acknowledge you as
idolize
frequent.
you.
well, I mean, it's a really common trend when celebrities die.
As much I don't know how for me this relates, but like I don't call my grandmother a lot, but I know that if she were to pass, I'd be thinking about her more, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Okay, yeah.
right now I know she's there, I know she's healthy, I know she's good, but I don't make that effort to call her. I don't really see her that much, but I can tell you right now, I feel like if she were to pass, I'm gonna have her on my mind more, and it's more like you're cemented there because you're actually gone. I can never see you again,
Yeah.
right? So that, like, I guess,
And like you also will have like you'll pick and choose like the memories that you want to choose to like
Right.
remember about
Well,
her or like whoever. I mean, obviously.
I mean,
but
yeah.
like in terms of the track itself, it's also just really cool how like now you think about it, Biggie's a legend and he's dead.
I mean,
Like that's how I'm seeing it.
yeah, that's what Bonnie's been saying. Like, anyway, yeah.
I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
All right, so I guess that's about it
We made it to the end,
for
folks.
this one. It's been long, but
If you did, let us know.
if you did watch all, that would be cool. You could. We didn't split this because people don't seem to like part
Start
twos.
putting Easter eggs.
I don't know about that. Anyway, so for those of you who just got here, we did talk about the whole fucking project. I gave this album a 4.48. It's 24 songs, and it is really freaking long, but the quality is maintained for the most part throughout all of them. There's a couple of goofier tracks. There's R. Kelly, which is unfortunate. I did not enjoy him. But Biggie is consistent. His rhyming is very much on point with what he's trying to be. It is a really dark album full of lots of obsessions of death and crime and stuff, but done in a really artistic and poetic way. It is justified as being that cool album that everyone thinks it is. I think it makes total sense that this album has gotten the accolades it has, because if you consider the fact that anyone can pull off not being boring, especially when you look at a Culture 2 by Migos, where it was like, after like 20 songs. The fact that Biggie's album is basically just a couple of songs shorter than that, and in length is about the same. It's the same length, but the number of tracks are different.
No, there's 24.
Okay, then yeah, it's the same length. The fact that Biggie can pull it off so smoothly and you're still interested, he's still pulling surprises by the end. It just shows it's because Biggie's an artist and Migos is doing it for the money and copying trends, and a lot of other shallow conversations. There's whatever. Migos was making a money move. And Biggie was making an artistic project to prove that he could also do a double disc like Tupac. So he had a point to prove, you know? Anyway.
With the anticipation of death.
Yes.
I was just gonna only say that Biggie had more creative ways of saying the same shit.
I don't, but that's not true. Biggie said lots of different things, and Migos.
That's what I'm saying. Biggie found unique and creative ways to say similar things. Migos kind of just repeated themselves.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you're not correct. Biggie had multiple unique individual song concepts, and Migos does not in that album. And they did have a few. And saying stuff like that to me is just an ignorant statement. That's just like a cheap joke to try to take at the expense of stuff. My point is Migos sonically delivered a very similar album, regardless of content. Like you can't put Migos' lyricism and
I don't really understand why you're comparing Migos with Biggie in the first place.
They're only 2 hour and 45-minute albums I can think of.
But this is an hour and 49 minutes long, like this entire album?
And so's Migos is.
Okay.
That's the point. There is a valid comparison. They're the same number of tracks. It's the same length, and Migos' came out in 2018. So to compare this epic, like, 24-track experience with multiple styles and sounds put on it against, like, Migos, where they flip up one of the beats at, like, track 21, and it's like... It just goes to show the real artistry behind what Biggie brought to the table and Puff's over-the-top imagination, you know? Like, it's a cool experience.
Yeah. For me, like, this was obviously a classic. Even before I listened to it, I knew it was going to be a classic. I mean, of course, it's Biggie, right? Like, you can't expect anything less than him. Like, he was just great. And, like, it only started feeling a bit draggy and long, like, around, like, maybe, like, the last 3 songs of this, 24-track album. So I mean it's pretty good. I mean, I didn't get bored. I had a great time listening to it. I enjoyed it. I was dancing. I had fun. And it was interesting just looking at his, I mean, he's a great storyteller. So most of his songs are in-depth stories that take you places and move you, and they're completely separate from every other song. And I think that that's like really important. And I think that that's, he really was a great artist. And yeah, maybe if he was still alive today, he would just be, he wouldn't be necessarily famous. Like, he would show up, every once in a while at the Grammys or something, but that would be that. Like, I don't know if he would necessarily be where he is, but as, he died and he's frozen in time, basically. Like, and he's epic. He's gonna be great forever because he died at the top of his game. Like, he's great. So yeah, I mean, for me, I gave it a 4.20 at 84%. I mean, this is an epic masterpiece that we will never see the likes of again. So that's all I have to say. I mean, it's great. It's Biggie.
I gave the album a 4.3. I think that I enjoyed this album a little bit more than I enjoyed Ready to Die. And maybe I'm a little bit more open to Biggie now. I'll say that. But I guess I just personally would just rather listen to something else.
Thank you all for watching this. We appreciate you being here. It has been significant. If the video is fucked up in this video, it's long and, it started getting fucked up and we should have recorded it differently. So our bad. Thank you for dealing with that.
If it's messed up at all.
Oh, it's definitely messed up in parts of it. And it looks like this ending bit's messed up too from what I'm seeing on the thing. But we're like right fucking here. So anyway, thank you. If you like this, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, tell us what you want to see us cover in the future.
Follow us on Twitter.
And big ups to Mozart, our Patreon. If you want to see your requests hit the top of the list and come quicker, Patreon's the best move for you. If you want to see them quicker than everyone else, Patreon's the move for you. And if you want to see us get better shit, Patreon would help us a lot. So thank you, and catch you next time on all that shit. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye.